Following may contain language which will be offensive to some people and inappropriate for children. The topics discussed may include drugs, alcohol, or be sexual in nature. This show is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. I'm serious. It's dirty. Really, really dirty. Still here? Then pour your favorite beverage, sit back, and let's get this fucking show started.
Fantastic Forum, assemble. You listen to Fantastic Forum, the premier show about comic books and your weekly conversation about pop culture and the entertainment industry. Welcome to Fantastic Forum. Hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, as the case may be, depending on where you are in the world. And if you're not, you should stick with us. We'll help you take it up a notch. You have the usual suspects in the building. First, he is our riddle inside of an enigma trapped in Chinese finger cuffs. You don't know him. You love him anyway. He's our silent assassin, Jay.
Hey, what's up?
Next, he's our resident Dark Knight detective. He's next in line for the cowl. He is our intrepid senior reporter. It's Oz.
Yeah, I'm right, bitches. I mean, back. Damn it. Fuck that up.
Next, he's the backbone, the pillar, the strict of Fantastic Forum, our nigh invulnerable brawler and resident strongman, Moses Magnum.
Oz is always right on brand.
And as for myself, my name is Lawrence Young. They call me Mary Young. Welcome to Fantastic Forum. We got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking to you all about La Morta Retaliation #1. Did I say that correctly, Moses?
Close enough.
I don't see. I didn't feel so. I didn't like. I was like, oh, I messed it up somehow. I don't worry. We'll correct it. My apologies. We're also going to be bringing you all a review of the New Mutants movie, and we'll also be talking to you all about. Damn it! What's the other thing? I got too caught up.
The Superman of Tomorrow.
Oh, right. Superman, Man of Tomorrow. Right.
Just Superman of Tomorrow.
It's so funny because my boy Raymond will say the same thing. He's like, you should just call it Superman of Tomorrow.
Isn't that what it's called?
Is it? I think it's called Superman. Isn't that Superman, Man of Tomorrow?
No.
Yeah, it is. With Superman, Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Where?
Yeah.
I mean, when I bought it, it just said of tomorrow.
Oh, I'll tell you, friend. So we're gonna be bringing you reviews of all of those items, as well as the latest in comic book news. So, yeah. Before we do all that, though, we want to make sure that we thank Scott Rubin, who, without him, this whole show wouldn't be possible. Wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have met half of these people if it wasn't for Scott Rubin. So, thanks, Scott. We appreciate you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. I got to call that guy. So, anyway, welcome to Fantastic Forum. If you want to get, actually, I guess if you want to get down with Fantastic Forum, we do have a few different ways to do it. And here's how it goes.
Want to get in on the action? Call Fantastic Forum on Skype and join the fun. Too shy to call in? That's okay. You can join the Discord chat room available at
fantasticforum.live.
Join the party. You know you want to.
It's weird because I don't see his mouth move, but he like faced the camera real quick, like it startled him.
Well, look, you would be startled too if she got super sexy all of a sudden, where you're like, oh man, I love the way she says Fantastic Forum not live. So, you know. Anyway.
Part is that to add that little clip in it, I had forgotten to record it, so I did it on the toilet.
Really? You
Yeah.
like literally did that on the toilet?
I remember like, oh, I forgot to add that. So I just did it.
Yeah.
I thought it was just me hearing your anus open.
What? What? Wait, what?
What? I missed
What
this.
is that? I don't even.
Because he was on the toilet. What the hell do you think he was doing on the toilet?
Oh, I just go there to think.
Yeah, I call it thinking too. Get in that position, like
It's like it has good reverb.
great to be back, guys.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. At least it was, Oz. It was. Before we get too deep into things, obviously, I mean, listen, 2020 as a whole is ridiculous and it's hard. Every week, something new happens or something else is compounded with the things we're already going through. It's just like, dude, like a lot of craziness. This past week, of course, was rough on comic book fans. I mean, so we lost Norm Spencer, who's the voice actor that played Cyclops in X-Men the animated series.
Yeah, and he said previously on X-Men.
Right. Exactly. So it's like that was like a huge part of many of our childhoods. And it was just like the guy was a great voice actor, and it was a lot. And then also in the same week, of course, we lost Chadwick Boseman, who lost his battle to colon cancer. Who, and of course, like was a tremendous actor, played all types of roles, including James Brown and Jackie Robinson and Thurgood Marshall. Of course, in this scenario, it stands out his performance of Black Panther, his portrayal of Black Panther. And so, you know, before we go further, I just want to, you know, just if we could just take a moment to recognize, you know, both of these gentlemen and the fact that we lost them. Just a short moment of silence before we talk about all the other things that happened in the week. So, yeah. Thanks, folks. So yeah, we'll talk more about it, obviously.
I know there's a lot of people that, you know, survive colon cancer, but it is one of the big killers, you know?
Yeah, it is.
Whether, you know, you get colon cancer and you end up with a semicolon, but you could survive, but unfortunately Chad didn't.
Dude, it's insane. We do have a someone in the studio real quick. Let me just bring them in real quick. El Hecht, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Tell the people, yes, tell the people who you are, friend, and where you're calling from.
I'm Hecht. I'm calling from Fantastic Forum Live.
Indeed, you are, friend.
I just want to do that voiceover.
Thank you. We appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, but Mo, you were just talking about you know the condition and you know how colon cancer does take a lot of people. Continue what you were saying, man. I apologize. I just wanted to make sure I looped Hecht in real quick.
I just wanted to call it a semicolon when you get the surgery, but that was all. But it is one of those things you got to get it checked. I mean, Larry, you're getting on that age, man.
Why are you calling me out?
No,
Wait.
I'm looking up to you, man.
Well, it's Lawrence. So
What is that? What are you
That's how
doing?
they're gonna check you out, like see if you got polyps or anything. Like
Yeah.
you got to get, and I,
How
you know,
you check me out?
look at-
Wait, what? Wait, what did you do, Oz?
he went like this. Oh,
I-
do it.
I tripled it.
Oz
Like,
Oh,
would be.
like, if
a
it wasn't
Boy Scout?
YouTube, if we weren't on YouTube, I would unzip my pants and do this.
I don't
Why-
even.
Why would you
You know they're
unzip
gonna
your pants?
I think he's gonna. I think he's. I don't know what kind of terrible proposition that is, but oh my god! Like
He watched. He
It's
watched.
only
The,
terrible the next day, Lawrence. It's only terrible the next day.
he watched how to perform that tutorial. Like he watched the tutorial on how to perform that exam on Pornhub.
ugh. Okay, well,
But yeah, eat fiber, eat vegetables, and do whatever. All we could hope for in life, especially the way 2020 has gone, is to shit comfortably. So do that and try to avoid colon cancer.
And the crazy thing
Drink
is,
water.
they don't have you get checked until 50, and he died at
Right.
43. He already
Yeah.
been battling for 4 years, so it came up when he was 39.
Mm-hmm.
that's rough, man.
Larry.
So Tiger Con chat says, where do you think Marvel Studios should go for Black Panther 2? Should he be recast or should they go with Shuri as the new Black Panther? It's canon to the comics, so that's one way to approach it.
What do you think, Jay? What would be your opinion?
I would recast. I would bring Terrence Howard into play.
Terrence Howard? Why Terrence Howard?
Because he got shafted on the whole War Machine thing. So let's bring him back. Like, let him be Black Panther.
Light skinned Black Panther?
Yeah, I mean, he's got the act.
Put him in blackface.
What Wakanda, man? I'm the king of Wakanda, man.
Is it
We don't-
blackface if he's a black dude?
But he's actually a really good actor. Like, he's
Yeah.
a good dramatic actor.
I agree with you 100% that he's a great dramatic actor. I will personally say I don't want to see the role recast. I would prefer them to go with Letitia Wright and just let Shuri be the next Black Panther. Personally, but I can understand why you feel the way you feel, and trust me, I have plenty of friends that feel that way. Like I got one of my buddies that feels strongly that the role should be recast because he felt as though it's like a strong male role model, like the portrayal is a strong African or a strong Black male portrayal in mass media, and he feels as though you don't get a lot of those, and so he's like, I want the few that we have, I want to keep. So, and hey, that's a valid argument, but I will tell you this. Chadwick Boseman is a very singular talent, and I kind of feel like anybody that gets recast into that role is kind of just playing pretend. You know what I mean? Like, the only person I could think of that could hold like that. Well, honestly, okay, I can't think of anybody that fits the role perfectly.
Mhm.
The only person that I can think of that I'm like, he could have been as good as Chadwick Boseman is the person that I wanted to play Black Panther originally, which was Chiwetel Ejiofor. But he's cast as Baron Mordo, and so he can't be Baron Mordo and T'Challa. So, yeah.
No, why not? Why can't he?
Because those two people exist already. Like they're
But Marvel has done that already. Like
no, it
Is
hasn't.
Yeah, because the guy that plays the Howling Commando, the Asian one, he also plays his own grandson.
Well, it's two dudes that are related that look alike.
Doesn't Baron Mordo wear a mask?
No.
No.
No, but dude, you've seen Barrymore on Doctor Strange.
I forget.
He's the black guy.
Oh yeah, okay.
That narrows it down.
Well, I mean, there's only one black guy in Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah. I never saw it.
Oh,
That's pretty good. You should check it out.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
Dude, Doctor Strange is a great flick. But what I'm saying is, it's one thing. Like obviously, people I was actually having this conversation earlier with my buddy Raymond, where he was like, there's obviously people in the MCU that have been recast before. We had it happen, of course, famously with Terrence Howard, which you just mentioned, where he was War Machine, and then they cast Don Cheadle, which is kind of crazy that but hey, it happened. And then of course also infamously with Edward Norton getting recast with oh man, I feel bad. What's my man's name?
Mark Ruffalo.
There it is. Mark Ruffalo, yes.
Why you laughing?
Because it's Ruffalo, not Ruffalo.
It's Ruffalo.
Ruffalo. I like it. I like Rufio. But nobody, but Raymond was saying, but technically nobody's been recast because they died, which is a whole different thing. And don't get me wrong. I mean, maybe, depending how you feel about it, maybe it's not. I don't know. What do you all think? I do think it's
nobody in the MCU has been recast because they died. But it's not like it hasn't ever been done before.
Well, yeah, that's what I just said, Oz. It's literally, you just like, okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Oz. What were you gonna say, Hecht?
Give it to John Boyega since he's already ragging on Disney. Make it like a concession.
See, and that's the thing. Like John Boyega, I mean, John Boyega's good, but I don't know if John Boyega can fill those shoes, man.
He can't.
I'd like to see Shuri get and open Black Panther 2 with the funeral for T'Challa.
Oh, were you gonna say
that's kind of honoring the guy.
I would actually like to see something a little more creative out of this. Like I would like Shuri to be just do it with her. I would like to see that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also like the Black Panther franchise to be kind of like a James Bond thing, and you can do different movies from different Black Panthers through time.
Wow. So you mean like basically do like his dad as
his
Black
dad,
Panther?
the dude before? Because I mean, it's the lineage is very vast, even before white people entered Africa. You know what I mean?
Before
yeah. So they could do stories with that. I don't know, tie them into, they could do things where they tie into whatever the main MCU plot is. But one of the dudes that I would like to see in Black Panther as a Black Panther would be, I forget his name. I just looked it up and I forgot it. But the dude from Lovecraft Country, that's really good.
The main,
the dude that plays Atticus Freeman.
Yeah. I don't know his name either, but no, he's a good actor as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could see him as Black Panther, but
as a Black Panther, like
got you.
T'Challa, but if you do the different eras, he could definitely be one.
You don't feel like people would think that's a little bit of a cop out, like all of a sudden we have like an anthology series as opposed to like following the people that.
I mean, I thought doing the Eye of Agamotto was a cop out, but it turned out okay.
What do you mean doing the Eye of Agamotto as a cop out?
Like instead of just having the gems be different than your cosmic cube and all these
Oh,
things, Easter,
an
like
infinity, an
So,
infinity
yeah.
gem. The Eye
So,
of Agamotto.
like to me, like that, they could have just said gems, but they're afraid to take that chance, and now they have a reason to kind of take that chance, and it could be something better. You could have a whole different group of strong, good black role models.
Mhm.
Not just one. It doesn't have to rest just on Chad Boseman or whoever comes after him.
Right.
Like if it's going to be some big shoes to fill because everybody's going to be critical. Like they're not. I'm sure I've seen it happen in different like parts of show business where the guy that comes right after people don't like. It's the guy that comes after the guy that comes right after. That's going to
Right.
So why would you want to put somebody you like in that one? Just do Shuri because it's a logical step, and then you can introduce the idea of different Black Panthers as it is, and then have another one and have him alongside Shuri, or if you have to replace because of her contract, you get another one. You know what I mean?
No, I do know what you mean, and I do feel where you're coming from. Where you're like, like you said, Shuri can be the natural progression, and it's not like people are really gonna, or well, we don't believe too many people would push against that, but you never know.
Yeah, this 2020, man.
Oh well, hey, listen, 2020 has not ceased to surprise me, as we mentioned. So,
kind of ironic thing
tell us.
is that if they had kept Terrence Howard as War Machine, I think Don Cheadle would make a really good Black Panther.
Yeah, I mean, Don Cheadle would make a really good at just about anything. Like, like Don Cheadle is like Don Cheadle is getting like he's finally getting his due, and he's still underrated. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, dude, the dude, he's so much better than people give him credit for, even though they try to give him credit. So I would not say, and this is despite the fact, like, there's some people that were like, oh, well, such and such a great actor, but they're too old. Don Cheadle is probably older than all the people we mentioned, but he could still pull off at Black Panther. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, okay, well, hey, I don't know what to tell you, man. He's amazing. Go ahead.
I'd watch Hotel Wakanda.
Oh, that actually makes me laugh and makes me sad on the inside.
You didn't like Hotel Rwanda?
I mean, I like the movie, but it's sad. It's a really sad movie. Yeah. And it's like, the idea of war crimes being perpetrated inside of Wakanda makes me sad. But I'm sure, you can't watch every corner.
They're a scientifically developed country, advanced in many respects, and you don't get that advanced in science without doing some unethical things.
So like there's like a Wakandan Mangala somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something, like.
Yeah.
So Tiger Claw in chat says this would affect the X-Men in a way because Black Panther was in a relationship with Storm. He also says, I think people will warm up to Shuri as the new Black Panther. She's very smart and has a sense of humor.
I love how Tiger Claw says it would affect the X-Men, like he reads comics. And like MCU follows the comics. Like
Right. Yeah, I don't know if there would be like a grown woman Storm in the MCU right now. There might be. I don't know. But yeah. But man, I will say, again, condolences to the friends and the family of Chadwick Boseman, man. Like, it's hard. It's hard. Like, I just know how I feel about it personally and how hurt I was to get that news. And I'm only thinking, like, obviously I don't even know this dude. It's like, I don't know Chadwick Boseman. All I know is, the talent he possesses and the impact that some of the roles that has had on my life. And I'm just like, man, I can only imagine what it was like if you knew him as a person, because supposedly he was like this amazingly kind, insightful, and amazing individual. And so, and which, you know, I mean, that's all I've ever seen of him. Like, I've never seen him or heard of him doing anything out of pocket or anything like that. And honestly, I mean, here's the thing: it's a testament to the type of person he is and the people that he has in his circle that this was kept secret for all this time. Because he got diagnosed, I think they said it was 4 years ago, and nobody knew except for his closest people, like his inner circle. Like, I read a story today that, you know, Marvel and Disney didn't know. Like, supposedly, Feige got an email like at the end of August saying like, hey, you know, emergency, like, you know, we need to talk right now. From, I don't think it was from him. I think it was from one of his people. And they, you know, what it was reported, they said Feige saw the email within an hour, but by the time that he had opened the email and reached out, Chadwick Boseman was already passed away.
I didn't realize how hard I took his passing till like immediately after I found out. I said a joke, the first thing that came out of my mouth, and that's how I know that I was processing something that was actually kind of painful to me. Yeah, I was like, man, these police gave Chadwick Boseman cancer. They're finding new ways to kill black people. But yeah, that's just to hide the fact that I'm like, man, this dude, like, he was in Gods of Egypt, which is a lot of people didn't like because it didn't have black people in it, in their Egypt. But he was in it, and he was good in it, so good that I didn't realize that was him after the fact. Like, until this, like, Gods of Egypt, he was in God, and then I'm like, yeah, he was the black. I'm like, dude, like, I just saw an Egyptian god. Yeah,
there was like 1,000 of him.
Yeah, and yeah, fucking, and Get On Up, like, that movie. I love music biopics, even if I don't like the genre of music, and that one, I was like, man, this dude's gonna be Black Panther amazingly.
Yeah,
because he was really.
I'll tell you when I realized it hit me is really, I go online and there's stupid jokes and I don't always laugh, but I don't really care. Somebody posted something, I assume as a joke, and it just creeped me the fuck out. Like, I had to like close the window and like just sit there because it was a red carpet interview with Chadwick, like after Infinity War, and asked him about Black Panther 2, and he just kept saying, "No, I'm dead. I'm dead." I know it was meant to be as a joke, but it just like me the fuck out. I gotta chill. I had to close it, and like I was done. I was done with the internet for that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
I wish you about it now.
Yeah. No, it's messed up, dude. It's messed up. So, yeah.
Anyway, we have a great show for you today.
For real. Let's talk about let's move on to the next thing, and we can come back to some more news in a little bit if we want to do that. Should we talk about New Mutants?
Yeah.
Let's talk about New Mutants.
I thought we were gonna do an upbeat show.
You're gonna do a what show?
I thought we were gonna do an upbeat show. Now we gotta talk about New Mutants. Now, did you guys watch it?
Yeah.
Yes. Hold on, let me play this comic book movie review music.
Comic book theater.
theater. I feel all that music is appropriate for the New Mutants review. Like, like all of that, it sounds all doom and gloomy, and usually, like, you know, it makes me laugh because I'm like, oh, there's no reason that our movie reviews should be this grim. And then now we're reviewing New Mutants, and it's like, yeah, I get it now. Good job, Claw. No,
Did anybody see this in the theater?
I did. Well, you guys had a drive-in, right?
go ahead, Jay.
I said, unfortunately, I did not see it in the theater.
Right, we went to a drive-in to go see it.
I mean, that's a theater. That counts.
It does.
It
Yeah,
does not.
if your car has shitty speakers, then
Did you go back in a DeLorean? There's not even drive-ins around here anymore.
There is in LA. There's swap meets
yeah.
normally, but
Right.
every once in a while they turn on the screen and make it a movie theater. Like
This-
they
the
got
one we-
real ghetto.
Must be nice.
The one that we actually went to was actually like a makeshift drive-in theater that they did inside of the Rose Bowl. So
Well, they
so
put up
'cause
like a giant curtain and
it was actually a giant LCD screen. So it was basically watching on a big TV in the middle of the Rose Bowl or the Rose Bowl parking lot. So it was a good experience.
that still counts because they do use that parking lot as a swap meet. I've been there, but it's more like a white people swap meet where
I
like you
believe
got
that.
antiques and junk.
Yeah.
That's called a flea market.
Yeah.
Do they have a guy walking around passing
It's
out?
not
patty
dirty,
cake
I don't
and
wanna-
stuff?
You can't buy socks there.
Right.
You can't buy socks at a swap meet. Can you even call it
No,
a
no.
swap meet?
It's a flea market.
Oh, white,
Flea market. Yeah.
You can buy
but you can buy like a wicker chair.
Go ahead, Oz.
You can buy like a wicker chair or
Yeah.
some wood art thing.
You can buy socks, but they'll be bronzed. They're for your mantle.
Man, white people are a trip.
Look, say it again. Heck.
I
said-
wish that's what made him a trip.
So New Mutants, the New Mutants.
New Mutants is a white people allegory.
First of all, I think it should be known that in the movie's defense, it's not exactly Marvel Mutants. It's New Mutants by some guy named MacLeod or something.
Oh, dude.
Like it's
Are
not
you-
the real New Mutants. Right?
Are you?
Look,
Well-
I saw it like based on the characters by some guy named MacLeod. I never heard of.
Yeah. Poor. They spelled his name wrong, which is so wild.
And he's actually mad at the movie, not about his name.
I think it's both, which is okay. Which is okay, but it's just I mean, who wants to summarize what New Mutants is about generally? And we're gonna don't spoil it for people, even though who knows if you can.
Who cares?
Let's spoil it for people. I still don't know what happened.
Yeah. Basically, it's a pseudo horror movie, but they call it a horror movie to make it excusable that nothing happens for 51 minutes.
51 minutes? Was it that long?
I think that's called a suspense movie.
Yeah, that's why. Like, if they didn't call it a horror movie and they gave you this movie, because it didn't, it had, other than higher contrast and dim lighting, it didn't have a lot of horror in it. Some of the visuals and stuff, but they weren't even they didn't. I'm sure Larry was fine with them.
I was.
Yeah,
That's how I know it's a horror movie.
it's like they try to make it horror, but it's not, and it basically just calling it a horror thriller gives it an excuse for nothing to happen. Like usually, nothing happens in a lot of horror movies stereotypically for about 40 minutes, because then everybody that you spend 40 minutes that they spent trying to get you to give a fuck about start getting picked off. So doing that in this movie, like it has no purpose for it to be like that. There's not a whole lot of backstory, not a whole lot of endearing characteristics to these characters, and yeah. So it's, you know what it is, to summarize it, is an hour and 24 minutes of a waste of time.
So the plot twist on this one is they're only killing the audience.
I've never been so mad to be cut off at 3 beers in my life.
Man, they cut you off at 3 beers. They didn't know
Well,
what movie you were watching.
I bought them before the preview started, so.
Oh, jeez, you're like, I need more.
Yeah, it wasn't enough.
Don't do this.
And I actually, I'm mad that it was that way, because that I felt that way watching it, because I had my preconceived notions about it not coming out, about the reshoots, about the guy saying that there was no reshoots, about the guy saying I don't give a fuck about racism, I'm gonna cast whoever I want. Like, but then when I saw the Comic-Con at Home trailer, I was like, you know what, this actually looks kind of good. So then when I went to see it, I'm like, you know what, I think this is gonna be, and it's still, from seeing this and seeing what I have seen of Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, I think this is a more enjoyable movie. But I don't know if it's saying much about those two,
all low bars.
And
Yeah.
I was live texting you guys as I was watching it, because I didn't want to look at the screen.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe how everybody in this movie had an accent, and none of them did it right. Like, how does Macy William, who has a British accent, cannot do an Irish accent?
Well,
like, it's not that far off.
That's how hard they whitewashed it. It's like they didn't even want to get actual Irish people to be Irish.
I mean, I will say this. I feel like her Irish accent, I don't feel like it was terrible, but it wasn't the Irish accent that Rain has.
Well, it was terrible up until Cannonball opens his mouth, and then you forget anything she's ever done.
Yeah,
that dude, like,
yeah, it's so funny, because the last 2 movies I watched were Knives Out, and then I watched New Mutants, and both of those movies have like English people doing these ridiculous American accent, which in Knives Out, it's friggin'
Daniel Craig,
right? And I'm just like, dude, like, why? Like, I'm like, there's like maybe one guy in America that sounds like that. You know what I mean? Like one dude, and everybody thinks that he has like a learning disability.
He did an impression of Foghorn Leghorn in that movie.
yeah, exactly right. It's like a caricature.
I liked it for that movie because it was a quirky thing, but it's like Daniel Craig doing that was really odd.
It was a great movie.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's not like he ruined it or anything. Lord knows that Oz is 100% on point when you're like, you listen to this dude open his mouth as Sam Guthrie as Cannonball, and you're like, who talks like that? No. Is that what people in Kentucky sound like? I don't think so. I feel like the people in Kentucky are like, nah, man. Nah.
Although some of those dudes that opened up that RNC kind of sounded like that.
Come on, man. Come on.
I know what you're doing, Jay, but we can see you. You're like, superstar.
Was I the only one pissed off about Lockheed?
No, everyone was pissed. Like,
okay.
anybody that knows anything about the New Mutants or X-Men and sees Lockheed, like, it's one of those things where it's like immediately we're all like, so where is Kitty Pryde? Which Kitty Pryde doesn't belong in the New Mutants by no means, and neither does Lockheed. It's just that simple, So it's just like, okay, well, but he's there and he's a hand puppet,
or imaginary.
Wait, a literal hand puppet, or is it like CGI?
Hey man,
Yeah,
Hey.
look, I thought
No,
Homegirl
no
was just holding-
spoilers.
I thought Homegirl was just holding a hand puppet, and I was sitting there like, wow, man, that hand puppet sure looks a lot like Lockheed. And like halfway through the movie, I'm like, wait, I think that is supposed to be Lockheed. And I sent the guys a text like, wait, does Lockheed hang out with this person, or I thought he was with Kitty Pryde?
Yeah.
And then the movie just takes its cock and smacks me in the face with it.
And don't get me wrong, I mean,
And that's the thriller part.
That was actually exciting to see if I hadn't seen the fucking hand puppet earlier.
like Kitty Pryde and Magic in the comic are friends. Like it's not like it's isn't I guess what I would say is it's not outside the realm of possibility that Lockheed might be hanging out with Magic. You know what I mean? But it's not like Lockheed isn't.
Right, you're talking about in a comic book where it's established that they're friends. It's
Right.
also established that isn't she Colossus's sister?
Yes.
I mean, that's not established here.
What did you say, Jay?
Also, Lockheed isn't a puppet.
Yes, Jay. I would agree with that as well. But it's insane. Like I don't know. I don't know what, you know, this movie, like it does. I like. Here's the thing. The thing that bothers me the most is, you know, I'm a part of a couple of X-Men like fan groups on Facebook. So it's like these are obviously, if you join an X-Men fan group on Facebook or any social media, you obviously are, or it's fairly certain that you are a true fan of something, because that's not like that's a conscious choice you make, right? It's like, you know, even if you're a poser, you're trying to be a fan of it, right? So it's like, okay, cool, either way. But
Or you're there to just troll them all.
you that could be the case, but I feel like, you know, it's like there's certain fandoms that something like, you know, somebody is in a Twilight fan group for that. They're not in an X-Men fan group for that. You know what I mean? It's like people like the X-Men. And it's like, you know, and if you don't, then you're just like, okay, well, hey, I don't get it, right? But either way, I can't tell you how many of these people in these fan groups are like, I love this movie. I thought it was great. Don't listen to the critics. And I'm just like, they were like, they love this movie. And I'm just like, as a person that's like an X-Men fan and has been one for a while now, and a fan of the New Mutants and know like what those characters, like what the source material is like, I'm just like, I don't understand how they can like it that much.
Well, because
don't.
they're not fans. I had this conversation with a couple of people where they asked me about Birds of Prey, and I started telling them that it's a horrible movie, and then I realized these people don't know comics, so I had to tell them, you know what, you'll be fine, you'll enjoy it. It's enjoyable because I'm biased because I know these characters and I don't like what they're doing to them. You don't know anything about them, you'll be fine. That's what's going on there. That's why they love it, because they don't really know the
But
character.
I guess what I'm saying is I'm not even sure New Mutants succeeds as just a regular movie. Like there's some movies.
Not
you
if
know,
it's
like,
trying to be a horror movie. If it's just trying to be something to do because we've been quarantined for 3 months, then
Well,
yeah, it succeeds.
Even Twilight, you know, talking about Twilight, since you brought it up, it does a better job of showcasing that these are people with spectacular abilities beyond the normal outsider character. They don't do anything other than really just show Cannonball try to control his powers. But for anybody, there's no introduction to what their powers are or anything. And I can see that being like an artistic choice, but it's not like they're delving into these characters to give me some like meat into what these characters are either.
yeah. What say you, Jay?
Oh, I love this movie. I was so happy with it. It exceeded my expectations. it was just a really good, fun movie, and I wasn't expecting traditional New Mutants. They said they were gonna try and make a horror movie, so I was already prepared for it to be wrong, and so I was able to enjoy it for what it was. And I actually thought it was really well put together. Um, I think stylistically, I would have done the horror elements more horror-y, or gotten someone like James Wan to do it. But other than that, and some of the acting, um, yeah, this was a flawless movie.
Really, Jay? Flawless? It
I
has
mean,
no flaw?
I mean, it had a couple flaws. Like I don't know what was up with the dog. I still don't get that.
That was
Like,
Wolfsbane.
Yeah, but it was a dog, not a wolf.
why was it? Why was she a dog?
I don't know.
She's a
Magic called her a dog. So
But what, wasn't like
yeah, but that's the thing. She was a wolf, and even later in the movie, she turns into a wolf.
Yeah, right.
Why
see
is she?
the way you feel about finding out that was Wolfsbane, that's how we feel for the whole movie.
I know, and like I said, I went in there with my expectations were where they needed to be. Like I thought it was gonna be wrong, and I thought it was gonna be like a different take. I almost thought of it as like a Black Label or an Elseworlds or something that's like removed uh from a New Mutants. Like I could imagine in the comics, the last New Mutants run I read was when oh, not counting the current New Mutants run. The one before this I read was Magic traveling with the team, like traveling to different dimensions and meeting like different people, and sometimes they met counterparts of themselves. Like I could easily see this being one of those dimensions. And as
Tire
far as
Claw in chat wants to know if we think that New Mutants as a horror movie was the wrong approach, and how would we have approached it. I actually don't think that was the wrong approach, and I saw what they were trying to go with. The problem is the cast has like 5 or 6 people, and they're all build characters, so you're not going to lose any of them. So it doesn't feel like there's anything at stake.
you don't,
And then at the same time, they kind of telegraph what's going on pretty early. So it was hard for me to see these characters as being in danger. I probably would have had taken out 1 or 2 of them. And even if you got to add extra characters just to have somebody to take out and make it feel like something could happen, and maybe have a little bit more action where you see these characters use their abilities to fight the horror that's coming after them, and watch them not get killed exactly, but kind of lose the fight and have to escape. And then that'll give you a little bit more suspense. Like, okay, so these people really are in danger, and give you that feeling of fear for these characters that you're now starting to relate with.
well, that literally happens in the movie
No, it doesn't.
where Magic is fighting. And then
Right, but that's the climax already. I mean, throughout the movie.
so
You're
she
talking
thinks-
about the climax. In the climax, yeah, you bring everybody together, and they realize that by working together, they can defeat the evil. After individually failing to defeat it on their own, which no one does.
either.
I know personally, I've seen a lot of horror movies where no one dies, so that's not necessarily an issue with me.
What? Name one of them.
Name one of them. Vacancy.
Okay. What happens 5 minutes or 10 minutes into Vacancy?
I think they get to the motel, and then let me see. He gets to I think they get to the motel, and
by 10 minutes in Vacancy, you already know that's a sinister hotel.
Okay.
There's the red flags. You know these people, even if nothing happens to them later on, you know they're in peril from the moment they're in there. In this movie, there's nothing to indicate that they're being tested on, other than that they're being watched, but they're not really being watched because shit happens on the camera, and then it's really just a graphic user interface more than anything.
It's-
Blood Work also, and that one was actually really good. I don't know. Did any of you see Blood Work?
I haven't seen it. But what happens 10 minutes into Blood Work?
10 minutes in, I think the guy stabs himself.
Okay. So something happens to give you a sense of tone of what's happening. Nothing happens for 52 minutes of New Mutants.
Yeah,
Who wrote this movie?
Kinberg.
Is that true? Simon Kinberg wrote this?
the director wrote it with someone else. Maybe
Oh.
that person, Mo said.
I know that it's the dude that did Fault in Our Stars, that movie that Larry loved.
Wait, what? Why did I
You
love
like that movie, right? I remember we talked about it on the show because you loved it.
Okay. And like maybe I did. I don't remember.
It was a movie. It says here, Fault in Our Stars is a film from 2014 based on the novel of the same name. It has that Shailene Woodley person.
Josh Boone is the director, slash screenplay writer.
Yeah, and
I don't think I've seen The Fault in Our Stars.
it was like the one movie that came out that month when that came out. And
I think you have me confused with Oz.
no,
Oz
I
was probably
remember,
in the window.
you brought it up because the superhero movie that came out that month did bad, but it was up against this movie.
What came out that month?
I don't know,
Wait,
2014.
The Fault in Our Stars. That's the one where they're sick and they're like gonna kill each other if they got the COVID, right? That's the first COVID movie.
Yeah,
Are you sure I watched this?
we talked about it on the show. I haven't seen it, but
Oh.
it came
And I
out.
forgot more. Poltergeist.
Fault in
No
Our
one-
Stars came out in 2014.
No
So,
one dies in the Poltergeist?
I mean the original.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, the Poltergeist. Yeah,
no one dies in Poltergeist, but they buy the house 10 minutes in, and you hear "Get out." Yeah,
Look, I'm scared right now.
yeah.
look.
You can't look. First off, you cannot be scared of Poltergeist. That's impossible.
Why not?
Steven Spielberg at his familiest.
Yeah.
Like,
His
You-
family is?
I would be ashamed, like literally ashamed, if you couldn't do Poltergeist.
Well, Lawrence is scared by creepy white kid, little white
Right,
kid.
isn't Drew Barrymore? Isn't she in there as a little girl? Is that-
In fairness, I'm scared of creepy white kids.
I don't know her
we
name.
we all are.
And
My
there-
parents are.
And there's a creepy white kid in Poltergeist, and she goes, "They're here."
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
she's the star.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Anyway, listen. Let me answer Tiger Claw's question. Yes, horror movie was the wrong approach. I've said that from day one. First of all,
I think it worked.
yeah, no. We heard what you said, Jay. What I'm saying is wrong approach. Like, especially like if you're trying to introduce these characters to people, I don't feel like this was the way to do it. But I don't think a horror movie is the way to go. I don't know that I would have an issue even like here's the thing. The reason I know horror movies are the wrong approach is because this is not a horror movie. And that's what they said they were trying to do, and that by itself is poor marketing. Like because you're gonna send people expecting to be like scared, and they're not going to be scared. And that by itself is like, well, that's a bad horror movie, right?
I
So-
prefer to be scared.
Huh?
I prefer not to be scared.
Well, I prefer not to be scared too. But if you're trying to go to a horror movie and that's how they bill it, listen, we've messed up, like not we, but the collective we. Society, how often has like people got on M. Night Shyamalan for the movies that are getting marketed as horror movies, and they go to watch it and they don't feel scared, and they mess around and dump all over the movies, and those movies are amazing movies, even if they're not horror movies.
Except for The Village.
Signs.
The Village is a fine film, personally.
Yeah.
I think it's a fine
It
film.
is a piece of
Oh.
shit.
Nah,
Also,
The Village is a good movie, just not a horror movie.
Hecht is trying to act like he didn't shit himself when he knew it wasn't a monster, and the monster still popped out.
No, look, I got a story about The Village. I'm not
Yeah.
going to get into it right now, but
Another show.
yeah.
We'll do that. We'll do that on the
For the
Fantastic Forum after podcast with Heck.
For Patreon.
For page, there it is.
Exactly.
Listen, it's like it's like they messed around and they skewer Shyamalan because they're like, that's not a horror movie, and those movies are good movies. I agree with you; they're not horror movies, but they're fantastic movies. This joint is not a fantastic movie, and it's not a horror movie, and it has all these new characters in it that, you know, I mean, I want to say, I personally feel like almost all of them are unrecognizable as who they're supposed to be. The exception is Wolfsbane. Like, you know, Rain. Like, I feel like I could look at that character and they could act how they're supposed to act, and I could watch them and not know I was watching New Mutants and be like, oh, I think this is New Mutants. I don't know that I could say that for any other character other than, of course, I mean, Magic has like a bit of the aesthetic and stuff. I like, you know, like she looks like how she's supposed to look. However, like they just do a poor job in regards of the portrayal of the character itself. Like, there's a moment in time where Magic kind of acts the way she does in this movie. But it's a little bit more over the top. Like, they obviously are trying to make her the edgier character. And then on top of that, her powers are like all like some of what she does looks like how it's supposed to look, but none of the stuff there's levels. Like, Magic doesn't start off where she's at in this movie. And so it's kind of like, okay, I know that that's Magic, but it's like, there should be a whole history of things that happen before she gets to the point that we see her at in this movie, and it's obvious that none of those things have happened.
like
So it's just
her getting Lockheed. There's a lot of steps to get to that point.
I mean, Lockheed is only one step, but like literally, like, you know, like they make her arm which, and I'm pretty sure this happens in the preview, where her arm transforms into metal,
into a leather jacket.
Well, I don't know if it does into a leather jacket. I don't remember that, but it definitely, she has a metal arm, which is like kind of along, you know, in lieu with like what people know from Colossus. And, you know, Magic doesn't do that. Like, that's not how that character works. And then also she has like the soul sword, but that's not a part of her mutant power. And so it's like, that's not how that whole thing works, or not how it's supposed to work. And so it's just like, okay, well, you know, if we're just doing whatever we want to do, then I guess, yeah.
Joe, you were trying to say something before we got on to this little rant. What was it?
I don't remember.
Okay. So
It's a
Larry,
good way to wrap up this movie.
I did want to ask you, Larry, because I did hear interviews with Josh Spoon, one of them being the Comic-Con at Home panel, and it basically he talks about how he loved these comics when he was a kid, and he liked how dark they could be. Look, don't reserve your judgment till I ask my actual question. Wait till the little question mark. Larry, do you get the sense that he was being honest when he said those things?
No, man, listen. No, nobody that has like I'm amazed by the ability of the cast of New Mutants, the cast and the director of New Mutants to push this film as hard as they did, because they made it seem as if they actually like thought this movie was good and enjoyed like their time on it and stuff. And don't get me wrong, at no point was I fooled, because they show footage and I'm like, nah, they definitely didn't enjoy. They don't think that's good. I know they don't think that's good, but they looked believable. But I was like, nah, like I'm looking at the product here, so I'm just like, no, that's not good New Mutants. That, Josh Boone, like maybe at some point he read a New Mutants comic. And don't get me wrong, there's some points in New Mutants that things can get dark, but this is like there's no influence from the comic books in this movie. And then, of course, all of the putting his foot in his mouth with these last couple of interviews and such or whatever. It was like, which wasn't a surprise to me. Like as he was casting, as you all know, like we talked about these castings on the show. It's like from day one when I saw, Roberto da Costa and we started getting like into Danny Moonstar and whatnot. It's like, I'm just like, hey, I'm not feeling this, because it's like, you can say that what he looks like what Sunspot looks like is not a big part of the character, but I really do feel like you'd be wrong. Like the character, like him being dark, a dark-skinned Brazilian person was kind of part of the whole thing. And, it was part, like, despite him being privileged, because the dude was, like, super rich, but still being, like, basically discriminated against. Mm-hmm. So it's like his money and his privilege didn't shield him from that. And that was, like, a part of the character, and something that, it's like, just in this day and age, it's like, it just seems strange to, like, forgo all that stuff. But so all the stuff
that's kind of what Bob McLeod's thing was when he like shit on the movie, which I was happy to see, because he's the creator, and he can get a little money, a little clout, a little credit,
Mm-hmm.
And he's still like, they fucked up.
Yeah. And so like, the stuff that he said recently in regards to like, him feeling like, oh, I don't really care about racism in Brazil, and saying like, I wanted the actor to portray, like, I wanted him to look as though he could be somebody that was like privileged and rich, like they looked like they had a rich dad. And it's like, I don't believe that Boone was trying to say like, oh, well, Black people or dark-skinned people can't be rich. I don't think he was trying to say that.
Yeah.
But that's what he said, though. You know what I'm saying? What he said was, in my mind, when I think about what privileged and rich people look like, they're not dark-skinned people. And I know that, I'm sure if I had said that to him to his face, he would take some exception to that and be like, no, that's not how I feel. But it's like, no, but it is how you feel. You just don't realize it. Like, it's not a conscious thing. It's a subconscious thing. And it's not your fault, because that's our society teaches us that. And that's the problem. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, so I'm just like, dude, it's crazy, because it's like, you can make what is, they always say, hey, don't change the color of the characters, make your own characters. Then your own characters get made, and then they whitewash them. So
I don't remember it being that controversial when Sunspot showed up in Days of Future Past. Is it just because nobody liked that movie?
Yeah.
Listen, I don't even remember Sunspot in Days of Future Past. Was he?
Oh,
let me
share the screen with you then.
Yeah, please do, because I don't even remember. I'm sure he was there, but it's like a cameo.
He was blonde hair, blue eyed.
Oh, Jesus Christ, man. Is that guy supposed to be Brazilian?
That's what I was gonna ask.
I mean, the actor is Mexican, if that helps.
It doesn't.
But he's white Mexican.
That's
He's
straight
Spanish.
up Spanish.
Yeah.
Right? Spanish.
His last name's Cortez.
Oh, see, looks 100%
Yeah,
pure
that
Spanish.
dude came to invade.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if it's true, but
Like,
No,
look,
it's actually
his, I'm
What
like,
is it?
his family forgot to get back on the ship. They're
it's
like, wait a minute.
Canto, Canto. I mean, that doesn't help. I'm just that's just what it is.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen,
I like Cortez better.
I don't remember that sunspot in the movie, but again, we're talking about another terrible X-Men movie for a number of different reasons as well. So it's just like, okay, like, yeah, we might have missed it. You know, he wasn't a main character, but it's like, dude, like I don't understand it. Like, this dude is literally like my complexion. You know, maybe Joe's complexion, because Joe's a little bit lighter than I am. So maybe he's Joe's complexion. Either way, he's like, they've cast him 2 times, and each time he's somebody fair-skinned. Like, not even fair-skinned, because it's not even like they're like, okay, it's not even like he's like light-skinned black. You know, the dude is Afro-Latino. And they
He's not-
keep like, come on, man.
he's not
It's
Terrence
crazy.
Howard.
Right. He's right. He's like, he's not right. He's not Terrence Howard, man. He's not Terrence Howard, man.
Zeno Core in chat says, just listen to see if he has a lisp when he speaks Spanish, and then we'll end the mystery of which Latinx he is.
Wait, who has lisp?
Any of them, but mainly the Canto guy.
Oh,
For those of you wondering, I'm pointing to the little in post-production link to the episode titled Trask is a Tall Man. That is our review of Days of Future Past, if you want to hear that.
I
And
pointed
you-
down the wrong direction.
And if you haven't caught on
Got
that,
it dead on, Mayor.
Thank you.
if you haven't caught on that we actually don't put on the links, then yeah, you got bigger problems.
That would require effort.
So, okay. So, can we just give? I mean, is there anything else anybody wants to say in particular about New Mutants before we give this a rating?
So, is this the official entrance of mutants into the MCU? Is this
Oh,
movie
how
even
dare you!
part of the
How-
MCU?
How?
This-
No, it's absolutely not.
It's a contractual obligation.
Okay,
It's
so
the last Fox movie.
they just put it out because they had it.
They put it
no,
out because they
had-
knew nobody was going to theaters around.
No,
this time.
Mo, you were right the first time. In the contract for them making the movie, it said that it had to come out in theaters. Like the words are literally in that contract. So Mo, Prophet Mo is right again.
No,
Money
look, I would love to take that credit, but it's not Prophet Mo, it's Prophet Joe, because Joe told me that while we were doing the morning shows. So that's why I'm like, okay. So when they gave that other release date, I was like, okay. So it might. I just didn't think it would come out on that date. I thought it'd be delayed again. But at that point, when I actually looked at the paperwork, I'm like, you know what? It's gonna come out in theaters.
I will say that, you know, I know that I 100% was like, they should just release this joint on Disney Plus. It should just, like, it doesn't make sense to release it in the theaters. I didn't know about the contract at the time, but, you know, I was definitely jockeying for it. And sure enough, man, like, now that I've seen the movie, I'm happy it didn't come out on Disney Plus. Like,
They would have charged you $30 and then in December giving it to you for free.
that's what would have happened. That's what would have happened. No, I mean,
You
I'm
would've
sure at
got
some
that double
point,
pack with Mulan.
I'm sure at some point it'll end up on Disney Plus, but you know, Disney Plus won't be better for it. I'll tell you that right now. It's like,
Joe, what did you want to say about New Mutants?
I will say the drive-in experience kind of took away from it a little bit. It definitely would have benefited from being like, I think I would have enjoyed it more in the theater. Like, those LCD screens are not great. Like, they're good, but they're okay, but they're not great. Like, there were a few scenes where the screen was so washed out that I couldn't see what was happening.
yeah, it was
And,
super dark.
Prince said we should go at 7:30,
Mhm.
and I mistakenly thought that they knew what they were doing when they were showing them earlier, and Lawrence was right. Like we should have seen the 7:30 show.
But realistically, 7:30 might have been too bright. I mean, the movie did last a little longer, so it would have gotten darker. But I think definitely a later show. Now, the drive-in experience as a whole is something I'm curious about, and I was talking to people that I randomly talked to throughout the week in odd times when it would be considered a work day, but we can't work right now. And they were curious about how you guys thought about the drive-in experience as a whole. Is it a new industry that now that we can get drive-in theaters now? Like, is it a viable industry? Like the experience of seeing something, aside from the content and the quality, is going to a drive-in something that would catch on even beyond this COVID-19 type world and protocol?
They're gonna have to do better. Like I know where we went was just a makeshift, like not an actual drive-in theater.
Right.
But you get there and you got the staff yelling to each other instead of just like talking, like going over to the person. They're just like yelling across the field at each other.
Right.
And you get to the concession bus, and it's like you're like there's nothing, like literally nothing. Like I had to get a Powerade
Yeah.
because I was thirsty. And
They shopped at the 99-cent store?
Hmm?
They shopped at the 99-cent store to fill the concession stand?
yeah, and they marked it up like 5 times,
Fuck.
and like
That's a true drive-in experience.
it's like they're gonna have to do better. They're gonna have to do better with the concessions. They're gonna have to do better with the screens.
It's
They're
like
gonna have their people to stop yelling across the field at each other.
I just know that when I was younger, the drive-in was like it definitely was an experience in and of itself. It was different from the movie theater, obviously, but it was still like it felt special, and it felt as if people were trying to cater to you in a way that was different from the movies, just because like I mean, and I'm about to date myself here, but like when we used to go to drive through back in the day, this was before the whole thing with like radio or Wi-Fi and like having your own devices. So you had to literally put like a speaker in your car or whatnot. But on top of that, like they had like people on roller skates that would like come to the car and like bring you concessions and things like that. And it just felt like it was definitely more about they were trying to make it seem as if though your little car was like your own little theater space and people were kind of trying to cater to you for it. You could go to the concession stand if you wanted to, but it wasn't necessary if you didn't want to.
Roller skates.
I know exactly.
Oh, look, he was watching The Wizard of Oz first run.
Wow. Wow.
I actually remember when I was really young, the first couple of drive-ins that I was taken to was where you put the speaker on your windshield, and then at some point that went away, and it was like through your radio, and it just wasn't the same. It wasn't as good. I didn't enjoy it as much as I did just having that old shitty speaker, because it sounded like you might as well be ordering at McDonald's.
Yeah.
But for some reason that was better.
Like straight up, I remember seeing Batman '89 in the drive-in.
Wow.
Me and my dad went. We packed up a little chest with soda, and we made some popcorn at home and took it. And that was the whole thing. We watched Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I think they played Beetlejuice after or something, and then we took off. Like we didn't get people on roller skates. Wasn't that fancy?
Well,
But-
I mean, you're talking about the 80s and 90s. Lawrence is talking about like the 50s and 60s.
Right.
I'm definitely not talking about.
I mean, we were parked on dirt, and nobody could roller skate anyway.
Oh well, no, we were in parking lots.
look
And
at
it
this
it was
parking
I
lot.
was I
Oh,
was talking
Caveman.
about
Oh,
I was talking about the 80s and 90s. So so look,
Fucking parking lot.
right. So
Shit.
so Oz, what would you rate the New Mutants?
2.5.
Okay.
You know,
2.5 out of 5.
it gets a bonus because I haven't seen a movie in 3 months. I think Sonic was the last movie I saw, so
It's like
whenever that came out.
It gets the last call curve. Like that's all you have left.
It gets a hey, I'm in a movie theater bonus.
Now, did you go see it with somebody? I know because you mentioned trying to explain it to somebody.
No, I went by myself.
Uh,
I tried to get the wife to go, and she says she would go if I really wanted her to, which makes me realize that I shouldn't take her. 'Cause
Yeah,
then it's
but
gonna
you
get
know, if you want her to, then
if she's telling me that she'll go if I want her to, then that tells me I don't want her to.
Mm,
We'll go see Tenet next week.
gotcha.
Although I regret it because if she would have been there, I would have had 3 more beers.
Moses
pros and
Magnum.
cons.
I will give it a 3 because I put myself in a mindset of not knowing any of these characters, and realistically, I'm not invested in any of these characters. Nobody in this movie was one of the characters I grew up reading or cared about to that extent. I remember loving that 1994 Fleer Upper Deck like Sunspot card,
Yeah.
you know? But
It's a good card. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's how you know it's good.
Yeah. And he was a lot darker than he was in this movie. Yeah, even the power set. You know what I mean? Like he only looked good in with the powers like at the end of this movie. But I did like a lot of the production in it. They didn't have no like Whedon smile, you know, with the reshoots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the reshoots seem kind of seamless. So
But I think all the reshoots were to add Celia Reyes, I think.
which explains the terrible plot, but she's still in the scenes. She looks seamless. Like I couldn't tell if that. Like I kept thinking, who is the character they added? I tried looking it up and to no avail. But
I think that's what it is, but I don't know.
But it was fine. I mean, she did look weird from the back at some point. Like it was another character talking, maybe a male, for one scene. But you know, it was still like I think I didn't have a bad time watching this movie. Like, yeah, as a horror movie, it's not the best, but as horror movies tend to go, sometimes you know they're bad, and that also makes them good. This is not one of them, but I would like to see. I mean, Magic with the criticisms that you gave earlier are all valid, but the performance was really good.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah,
even Cannonball, the actor, did a great job acting. Even with the accent, but he the personality, the way he conveyed the character when he wasn't talking was actually pretty good. Danny was good, you know. So overall, it's like I wish, like I would think, you know, maybe do another New Mutants movie for Disney wise with this cast. Maybe, you know, Sunspot use or whatever. Like I didn't see any. They could recast him. He's not that expensive and he's not that cheap. So, but yeah, I would definitely give it a 3. Like I wouldn't say like, oh, don't watch this movie. It's just watch it at your own risk.
Jay, what would you give New Mutants?
Yeah, I would give it like a 4.5.
That's fair.
There were some acting things that could have been done better, and some of the story stuff. I actually didn't like Lockheed. Like he was annoying. Like when he was a puppet, like the dragon, I could take or leave.
Yeah.
But when he was a hand puppet, like I didn't really like it, and I didn't really like how Sam like was pink, and I didn't like Rain when she was a dog, and I thought Danny
So what-
had no gravitas.
So what did you like to
I
give it
like-
a 4.5?
I like the demon bear. I
Okay.
like the horror elements.
Was that a spoiler?
I like seeing the
Nah.
movie
Nah.
Demon Bear was in the trailer.
being out of a house.
Now, if I were to ask Joe the question I want to ask, which is, so she created the demon bear?
Yes.
Okay. Now that's weird.
I mean, they kind of tell you in the opening.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Like
Listen.
That explains why they didn't say it at the end.
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like there was a lot of bad, but there was a lot of good. Like I think visually there were only a few things I didn't like. And some of the acting was fine. And it seemed weird to me that Rain was so into Danny. Like she didn't feel like rebellious. And I know like those Catholics, like they like the more hardcore ones seem to like what's that word? Where you like kind of restrict yourself? Like to the
Repress.
detriment of your health. Yeah, you repress. Like I felt like she should have been a little more repressed.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the Smiling Man and the Demon Bear and some of the effects. And yeah, and maybe part of it was just the experience of getting out and going to a movie. And I was with friends, and we could talk and look up who the actor was without like bothering other people because we were in the car. And yeah, maybe part of it is the experience. Like, I had fun with my friends there.
Maybe I'll raise my review to like 4.5 plus 1. Because it seems like I like more things than Joe did.
Listen,
I only gave it a 3.
listen. I like the things that Jay is saying right now in regards to the experience. I 100% agree with.
Yeah.
Like the experience of going out to the movies with my people, and we were in this drive-in, and it's like it's a makeshift drive-in, and it was like it's different, and it's like yeah, and we're seeing a movie. It's like all of that. If I'm rating that, that's like 4.5.
Yeah.
If
But
I'm rating
Josh Boone had nothing to do with that.
exactly now, if I'm rating what Josh Boone did and these actors and these actors did, I'm giving that joint a 2. And don't get me wrong, part of this is just like this movie is not a good movie, but part of it is definitely me just being fed up as an X-Men fan. Like, and it's not like this is not New Mutants' fault. It's just New Mutants is the straw that's breaking the camel's back for me. Yeah. It's like I'm done.
And
I'm done watching terrible X-Men movies like this.
Well, no, hold on, because New Mutants is the remnants of the old world.
Yeah, but see, that's why I gave it a 3, because as far as that X universe goes, like this is a better movie. The last X movie I saw was Days of Future Past. And it's like
Days of Future Past is a better movie than this one.
Right.
But Dark Phoenix might be worse than this one because Dark Phoenix plot like literally goes off the rails, like literally.
And Apocalypse as well.
I like this movie better than Dark Phoenix. Apocalypse.
Oh yeah, Apocalypse is terrible too. You're right.
Like, I think you would have to go back to like
X-Men 2
is the one where I'm like, okay, these might be on par, but
nah, you crazy. Like First Class is the best X-Men movie, period.
Better than X-Men 2?
Oh yeah. Like X-Men 2 is not an X-Men movie, it's a Wolverine movie and friends.
Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying?
United?
No, look, there's only one movie that's like an X-Men movie, and that's First Class.
Why do you hate X-Men Origins with Wolverine?
Why do you hate X-Men?
Why do you hate X-Men and Professor X-Men?
I think the thing about First Class that really just bugs the shit out of me is that it actually really could have been a great X-Men movie,
Oh yeah.
but they made all these terrible choices.
Well, but
And
Joe,
it's like, listen to what I'm saying. It's like they were actually trying to make a really good X-Men movie. Like New Mutants isn't trying to do that.
That's
It's
exactly how I feel about Justice League.
random one-off horror movie with like mutant highlights. And
why do we give people credit for low ambition?
it's not low ambition, it's low. What's the word? Concept. Like
As opposed to high concept. Okay. I'll give you that. Low concept.
it's not ambition, it's low concept. Like, you know, we could do an X-Men movie or we could do a horror movie with people that are kind of one off from X-Men, like New Mutants. Like, I could give you that.
And
But
and
with First Class should have been amazing. It should have been great. They had like the right ideas. They almost had the right cast.
right.
Like the story just needed like really just some minor tweaks. And it could have been
See,
amazing.
but this is the thing. Like you're saying you're like basically giving or punishing a really good movie for not being great, and then you're rewarding a terrible movie for not being a dumpster fire.
When you aim for the stars, you fall that much far.
Listen, kids, don't be ambitious.
Too
It's like,
close to
listen,
the sun. That's the problem.
it's like, listen, kids, understand your limits. Shoot low. You'll be fine.
That's my life motto.
Realistically, I did have a conversation like that with the next generation of my family line. You know, the nephews,
Yeah, the nephews.
because I'm not breeding. And one of the things I told them, it's like, don't try to change the world. Anybody that's ever tried to change the world has ended up dead before their time. So just lay low and keep your head down and go balls out. And whatever you do, just don't try to change the world.
I mean,
Don't
don't
rock
even
the
know-
boat. Just
I don't
tip.
even know what to say to that, though.
But
I'm not saying you're wrong.
yeah,
I'm just saying that, you know. And listen, and
that's why you get New Mutants.
man, and this is the thing where, like, and like, I like. Don't get me wrong. Like, I know that I personally enjoyed the original X-Men movie when it came out,
Yeah.
and I
Well,
personally feel
I was with my friends and we were 16.
Yeah,
and
yeah. Oh, dude, it was amazing. And it was the first time that that movie had been rumored for years and it never got made. And so now it's finally getting made. And it's like, okay, dude.
And
Like,
we didn't have the internet to that capacity to know that Bryan Singer was a filthy piece of shit.
And our expectations were really low for comic book movies. Like, really, the only really good comic book movies at those points, like, you're literally talking about like Superman, Batman, Blade. That's it. And Blade was like on another level.
We had 2 Swamp Things too.
Oh, okay.
Nobody remembers that.
Are they good?
And we had that Captain America. The
I
first
think
one.
one of
No,
the
that-
Swamp Things is on YouTube.
That Captain America movie is terrible.
Wait,
I
are you
love
bringing
it.
up Plastic Shield, Captain America?
It's terrible.
No, that
But-
Plastic Shield Captain America, we saw that one time on movie night, and that dude's a dick.
So the X-Men movie for its time is fine, but it's not a timeless classic because when you go back and look at it, you're like, it's like it'd be nice if these X-Men were a little bit more like X-Men. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, so you have those movies, and then you finally get another movie, and it's like, okay, this is different. This feels like it's going to be more like X-Men, and then they totally wrap it back in, fold it back into the other movies that you're just like, dude, like enough with this already. Like, why? Like, and so I'm fed up. And New Mutants, I want to say New Mutants is taking the brunt of it, but it really isn't, because it's not a good movie on its own. Like, I feel like I would still not like this movie as a New Mutants movie if there were if this was the first X-Men related film that had ever existed. I would still be like, why would they do it like this?
The best X-Men movie is really Deadpool 2.
It was better than Generation X.
That's such a low bar. Generation X is a TV movie, and it was terrible.
They had a good Mondo though.
I don't remember Mondo, even though you might be right. All I remember is how terrible Skin is.
Yeah, the villain was bad too. The actor was great in it, but they didn't utilize him properly.
Who's the villain in Generation X movie? I don't even remember.
I don't
Is
even.
it an X-Men villain, or is
I
it
don't
something
think
else?
it is. I think it's something created, but the actor they got to play him.
There's a good actor in a terrible role.
Yeah, he's a really good character actor, and he's like, up until I want to say 10 years ago, I didn't see him as a character that didn't play like a scumbag.
Mm.
And he's got good range, and he's just another underappreciated actor
Yeah.
that we talk about. But he's the dude from Eureka too. He was a scientist, the older guy.
He black dude?
No, he sounds like Jim Carrey when he talks, and he kind of looks like him, but he's just a white dude. I forget the guy's name.
I don't know. I have to go look at it.
What was
later.
the character's name?
Shit, was it Mastermind? No,
I think he's talking about in Eureka.
Oh, that I don't know.
I meant in the because I got the cast list for Generation X.
Oh,
I'll tell you what, Jubilee was played by a white woman, Heather McComb.
Yeah, she's like, I'm 1/16th Japanese mall rat. So so she can do that.
She's 132nd Pinoy.
Right. She qualifies for FAFSA. It's like, what? Never mind. So yeah, 2 for New Mutants. In fact, since I've been talking, I think my rating went down to 1.5. I don't like it.
Oh, the actor's name is Matt Frewer.
I don't know who that is.
When you see his picture, you'll see.
I believe that.
I wish I could just drag and drop into StreamYard.
What? You can't just share the screen?
No. I don't want people to see like my tabs. Not that I literally just have StreamYard and Wikipedia, but
you can share one tab, like you can share a Chrome tab.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that on the fly. Like I should hire an intern to do that shit for me. Like I just need to be on camera and on this mic and doing my thing, but I can't because everything's modular right now. Like I can't even go grab a beer real quick. Yeah.
I'm sorry, friend. I wish there was an intern to hand you a beer.
What was that name?
Beer me.
Matt Frewer.
Not seeing him on here. Might have taken his name off this thing. Oh, there it is. He was at the top.
Yeah, he was the first one billed.
yeah, I just saw that. I was like,
he's the best actor in the whole thing. The guy that played Mondo is a good actor, but he was a character actor for like TV.
Oh, I love that guy.
Yeah, everybody loves that guy.
Share your screen.
Yeah, give me a minute.
And then there.
Prepared. Yeah, no, he was.
Who did he play?
Lawrence, you saw Next Generation. He was the time traveler.
Yeah,
that wasn't really a time traveler.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The only episode of Star Trek I give a fuck about.
Are you serious?
No, I don't. No.
Oh.
You're gonna hate me because I'm over here trying to look up Generation X and I put D-Generation X wiki.
That's hilarious.
See,
Nice.
Yeah, I know exactly
Nash.
who that guy is. Yeah, he's awesome. And you're right, he is a fantastic character actor.
Yeah, but he was the villain and he was great, but it was just a crappy villain that they put in there. I think they created him for the the TV thing. But
It's really interesting how that whole thing went down with Generation X, just because, like, it feels like Generation X, like they tried to push that hard, like in a real short time span,
right.
and it was just like, it was weird because it was just like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not like, I liked the characters, but I'm just like, why them, and why like this, like nobody knows who these people are, and you know, I mean, M from Generation X is like one of my favorite X-Men characters. Like, you know, they did the they had the My Five X-Men, and she was one of the ones I put on my team, where it's like I would like want, if I was writing X-Men, I would want her on my team. So I could, like, you know, have that character to like create with and like expand upon, because she's an awesome character. And, you know, she was introduced in that book, but I was just like, at the time, especially, I was like, man, I like this book. And I think, which I don't even, she's not even in that movie, right? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so
you
either.
know the dude that plays Mondo in it?
The dude that plays Mondo.
Look, that might be another reason why I was like, this book sucks.
Well, Bumper Robinson?
That sounds like a white name. That might not be him.
No, he's a black dude.
Okay, yeah.
He's mostly a voice actor.
Now, yeah. He used to be on every like sitcom and every like.
Wait, Mondo was black in that joint?
Yeah.
But he's not black in the book.
He was good in the show, so I wish they would have made him black in the comics. You got
He does have a face that looks kind of like it could be Mondo.
Yeah.
I understand why they picked him.
Yeah. It turns out like that guy was more really about making the character than
right. He looks like the dude from the book. So okay, I get it. I was just like, why is the black guy playing Mondo? But then I see him, I'm like, okay, I get that.
The voice and the attitude was like good on that show, and it was like that sounds like Mondo. Like when that show came out was like within the 2-year span of when Generation X came out.
Yeah.
And that was like it's new shit. So it's like,
yeah,
they have the source material and there's not a lot to change to really fuck it up. And it's the TV show, TV movie still managed to fuck it up, but they had to work hard to fuck it up. You know?
Yeah. Ironically enough, Mondo as a character is actually in the new Mutants comic book right now.
I remember with the weird like Casio font.
Sure. Yes.
No, the title, it's like it looks like a Casio watch.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Hickman, you know, like I think he gets to pick all the way that all the title things look. He's the head of X now, so you know Jonathan Hickman loves to have all types of weird, like, what is it, infographic type stuff. So.
Yeah, it worked. All right, let's jump into this Superman Man of Tomorrow, and I'll go take a leak while you guys intro
that. Jay, do you want to tell us, like, you know, maybe recap what Superman Man of Tomorrow is?
Sure. Superman Man of Tomorrow is a Superman origin story. Like, he gets a job at the Daily Planet, and all of a sudden aliens start attacking, and he has to come to grips with who he wants to be. And is that enough, or is, like, should I go into, like?
Yeah, I think that's enough, at least, to, like, kind of, you know, talk about. I mean, that is what the story is about. Generally, I mean, don't get me wrong. You're right. Like, you could go deeper into some plot points, but I don't think I don't want you to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it. And I will say this, like, wait, first of all, let me ask you this question. I don't remember. Is this based on a comic or is this an original story? Anybody, either of you know? See, this is why Mo can't go to the bathroom. I feel like Mo would have known this. I don't know. We can ask. I'll ask him again if he remembers when he comes back. But I don't
There's
remember.
there's a Superman Men of Tomorrow comic.
Yeah, like I mean, I know that there was a book called that, but I feel like that was the name of the series. It wasn't like like how like a lot of the DC animated stuff will base the movies on like a particular like arc.
Yeah, but those were that was the old cinematic universe. This is the first from the new cinematic universe, right?
No,
Oh, is it?
Well, yeah, the
standalone.
last one ended it.
No, the last one ended it, but like Jay, I think Jay just said this is a standalone, right, Jay?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not going to kickstart a new one.
No.
It should. And like it's good enough that it could. But
Yeah,
When it
I
knew-
would have, but
This is the one they were pimping for HBO Max, right? I think they were pimping it for HBO Max.
I
I
don't-
just the most
Go ahead.
disappointing news is that this isn't kickstarting a new animated universe.
yeah, no, it's standalone.
Yeah.
Do you know if it's based on a comic, Mo?
Well, there was I thought it was because it just said of tomorrow, or when I looked it up, it was like
Mhm.
that, and was it Mandela effect or whatever? I know there was a Superman Man of Tomorrow series.
Right. That's what
It's-
Oz actually said that while you were away
Yeah.
too.
It's not based on that, and it's not. There was a series called For Tomorrow, and judging by the art style,
Mm.
oh, this is trying to be For Tomorrow. But For Tomorrow was actually people didn't like it. I loved it, but this was definitely not Superman for Tomorrow.
Okay.
So once I got all that out of my head, and it's like, okay, it's not based on any of these. As a standalone and kicking off a new DC animated universe, I think this is a perfect starting point. So now when I hear that it's not, it's a standalone, it's like, man, DC is fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Well,
They're making all the bad decisions.
right, like this could be the not even like a flashpoint for their new thing. Like they
Yeah.
just make something good
Yeah.
that's new, and it makes you forget all the shit they've done for the last 6 years. Yeah,
Like this plot in this animated film should have been the live action Superman movie.
right. I actually was thinking that, and I wanted to text you guys this, but I was too captivated by this movie to not break away from it, because I'm
Right.
like, you know what? When I thought that it was an adaptation of For Tomorrow, and it wasn't like one of the best things about For Tomorrow was the fact that Superman was off planet
Mhm.
helping the Green Lantern, and he let a lot of people die.
Mhm.
So the only person that he can feel like he doesn't have that catharsis of like confessing and regurgitating, purging that negative emotion out. So he goes to confession in a church to a priest that's dying of cancer. Yeah,
Mm.
and that's actually what makes it so great, where it's like Superman is seeking therapy. Yeah.
Mhm.
And for something that's beyond his control, even though he's Superman, it's still beyond. It's a beautiful story. People didn't like it. Art's amazing. Some of Jim Lee's best work of his entire life.
Wow.
And Brian Azzarello, like writing it, like Jim Lee and Brian Azzarello, who's not gonna love that shit, you know?
Right.
But people didn't like it. I loved it, and this wasn't that. But it was like, man, I know there's been like a Superman Year One or shit like
Mhm.
that, and this was like, it felt like the perfect Superman Year One. And
Oh
the
yeah.
fact that it's a standalone sucks, because I would like to see the rest of the DC animated universe like spawn off of this.
Yeah. No, it's a really great story, and it's
I was
like it's,
watching it. Sorry, the point I was trying to make while I went on this little tangent was like watching it and saying, why did Zack Snyder like get an advanced script of this?
yeah.
You know, like, this should have been Man of Steel.
And that was the thing where it was like it's a different take on many of the characters that but they all feel true to the central portion, like the essence of each character. Like like Ma and Pa Kent are a little. It's a little slightly different take, but it feels like them. Even Superman. It's like Superman, Lois Lane, Lex Luthor, like everybody kind of like like there other like characters that show up in the whatchamacallit that show up in the course of this movie, and the takes on some of those characters are different as well, but it still feels like the essence of who they are, and it's really amazing. Because I was just like, I was watching this joint, and I was like, wow, like what a great story, and just like it was a really poignant kind of look at what these characters like could feel like, or what they could think if their views were just a little different, not a lot, just a little bit.
And like you watch Man of Steel, you have that Pa Kent that, but now in hindsight, 2020 hindsight, that motherfucker could have turned Kal-El into a supervillain.
Oh, easy. Look,
but you see,
not 2020. I was saying that when I was watching in the theater. I'm like, who is this guy? I know.
But the thing is, you got to look at it from a parent. Like, you don't want to put pressure on your kids. Yeah. But the thing is, like, this Pa Kent had a parallel to that Pa Kent, but it wasn't like this guy's not going to create a supervillain.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And that was you hit the nail on the head right there, where it's like the tone that you might be like, maybe this was the tone that was trying to be struck in Man of Steel, but it was off because he comes off like a pessimist, and he kind of comes off like he's like, hey man, it's like you gotta do what you gotta do, you know what I'm saying, protect yourself. And it's like, protect yourself. It's like, my guy, the dude is literally invulnerable. So it's like it comes across strange because it's like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying nothing can hurt Superman, even beyond the physical, obviously. Like, there are some things physically that can hurt him, but even beyond the physical, there's ways to hurt this person that don't have to do with his body, But it's like, it didn't feel like this guy was taking any of that into account either way, where it was just like, he's just like, hey man, you gotta look, like he's like, CYA, like telling Superman, like, you gotta be for self. And it's like, dude, like Pa Kent wouldn't tell Superman that. And when in this movie, it's like, yeah, Pa Kent was like, hey man, the world's a messed up place. So you either gotta make decisions where you either act like this or you act like that, but you gotta pick one. And it was just like
at this point, you're a man. We can't tell you what to do. I told you what to do up until this point. Now it's up to you, but you got to accept what comes with it. And that like the idea of Superman being an alien and choosing to be, especially in 2020 now, like coming to this shithole country and deciding to be part of it, it is an undertaking. Right. And it's like, fuck, we need a fucking Superman.
Right.
Well, that's where he lands in the Heartland.
Well, look, that we get that, but this land is your land. This land is my land. Like,
I mean, he wouldn't really get that lesson in the Heartland, I don't think.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't know.
Like, you got to protect America, no place else.
Well, the thing is, you look at
it for God.
I don't want to like go off on too much of a social, philosophical, political, philosophical tangent, but like a state like Oregon was started by the Klan for a place that they could be free, but now they're the ones rejecting the military help to subjugate protesters. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But they still have people that see those views. And they're still against Trump because they're like, what he's doing technically is not legal based on our values. So that's you would think that, but there's more people that are a little more sensible. There's just the vocal minority, as we've complained about on the show for a long time, and now this vocal minority, shifted.
Right. I agree. Minorities shouldn't speak.
Let's make a comic about the vocal minority.
That's
They
the
tried-
worst
yeah.
superhero name ever.
They tried to, but they hated it. It was called Miss Marvel.
Oh no, Miss Marvel. No, they didn't hate Miss Marvel. Well,
No,
some people
well,
did.
Yeah,
They
that's what I'm
made
saying.
the star of the Avengers game.
There was a big backlash on that character.
There
No,
was
it
some
has to be
backlash.
a team of minority people, maybe in masks.
With a big X on their chest.
Yes, looking like a what's his name from Speed Racer. Yeah,
Like- X-Men, because they don't like blend in with men, so they're like X-Men.
yeah.
I like
I don't know
the-
about X-Men though. Let's call them.
I like that the last thing that the Man of Steel Pac Kent does is a Kirby hand.
You said the what that he does?
He does a Kirby hand. That's like the last thing he does before he dies. He looks at his son,
There you
does
go.
a Kirby hand, and then he gets smashed.
Oh, you're talking about in Man of Steel.
Yeah, in the live
Yeah.
action, yeah,
Yeah.
in the Snyder cut.
Oh, see, now I gotta see this movie.
No,
No,
no, that
Not in the cartoon. I mean, in the Zack Snyder Superman movie, the one where he kills Zod.
Oh.
Spoiler.
Yeah, you know, I hate that movie, but
Yeah.
out of all the Snyder ones, I like it the most.
Yeah, I'm with you.
you mean out of the superhero Snyder ones, or you mean like all the movies he's ever made?
Just a Snyder superhero DC.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
That's-
I mean, I would agree with you on that. I mean, Man of Steel is the closest to a good movie that he comes.
Well, that's because y'all haven't seen the Snyder cut.
Is there a Snyder cut of Man of Steel? Because I think that was it.
Yeah.
No, but he would probably tell you that there is, and then
Right.
I'll let you redo it.
He'll be campaigning for that one next.
I mean,
Release the Snyder
technically,
cut of Man of Steel.
they've been promoting that black suit Superman since Man of Steel, so I don't know. Maybe there is a Snyder cut of it.
All I know is that this Superman, Man of Tomorrow, was a really enjoyable experience. I watched it twice, and I was like, man, some of these comics aren't this good. Like this reminded me.
I agree 100%.
This reminded me of the Superman animated series where they get every
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
the Lois Lane is tight,
Yeah.
the actress is tight. Like she's a
Yeah.
good actress.
Yeah.
She's got a perfect voice for her. She can do the pretty girl with the brain. You know,
Mhm.
and they casting's perfect. Zachary Quinto as fucking
Amazing.
Lex Luthor. Like they should have had him in BVS.
Yeah. Yeah,
Eh.
he would have been a much better Lex Luthor.
Fucking the dude that played Superman was a good actor, but the
Yeah.
characterization of Superman was good.
Yeah.
The fact that the type where Superman is in this point of his life as his development
Mm-hmm.
as somebody not from Earth trying to fit in
Right.
was like paramount.
Yeah.
Martian Manhunter. My only thing was that Martian Manhunter's look with the cape is him trying to tone down his Martianness, so he tries to look like Superman,
Mhm.
so that people will accept him. And in this movie, he did that before Superman had it. So that, as far as comics, like the comics goes, like that's kind of a misstep. But
Right.
characterization of John Jones in this was great.
Yeah.
And then like doing a triple parallel, like they have shit to bond with between Martian Manhunter and Kal-El, but
Mhm.
then with Lobo,
Yeah.
like that trifecta of
Yeah.
like we're out here on our own,
Yeah.
and then having them be so different from each other, but yet
Mhm.
the same and different ideologies, but still be on the same playing field was amazing.
Yeah, dude.
They changed the backstory, didn't they?
Who?
Backstory of who?
Lobo. Like, I thought at one point, like, he was the one that killed, like, all the rest of the Zarnians.
Oh, the Zarnians, yeah.
And in this
Um,
movie, he says he didn't.
Well, but the way he says it though is like
He's
it's
trying to
dubious.
Yeah, because he's trying to fit in with them in that dynamic. But even if he didn't, when they redesigned Lobo for New 52 and still try to give him that origin was lame as fuck. when they try to change the origin, but then captured this characterization of Lobo, it's like, you know what? They still got the spirit of him.
Yeah.
You know, the voice actor for Lobo was fucking on point. I
Dude,
never
it's
thought
so good.
anybody could ever beat Brad Garrett at being Lobo.
Yeah.
Like I ran into my sister. Here's how much I love Brad Garrett as Lobo. I ran into Brad Garrett, and by say ran into it as I made him a fucking double fucking quadruple latte, non-fat
Mhm.
latte at Starbucks. And I told him, look, man, I didn't charge him. I'm like, hey, man, you're fucking Lobo, man. I love you on Raymond, but fucking Lobo. Like nobody could ever be Lobo. Like it's one of my favorite characters.
Right.
Is what when before he was Lobo, and I read Lobo, I heard his fucking voice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he did. I don't know how much research he did. I should have asked him for pre-production. You know,
Mhm.
we were on our 6th episode at the time when I met him, but I didn't have that neurosis of making the show good. But I should have asked him, like, how did you come with that voice? You know,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll get to it. But then my sister went to see Brad Garrett's show in Vegas. She got to do a meet and greet and said, "My brother loves you doing Lobo." You know what I mean? So yeah. But this motherfucker, the dude from Sons of Anarchy,
Yeah.
dude, the dude, like
He kills it. He
I don't
kills
want,
it.
I don't want to say he's better than Brad Garrett, but dude,
No, but I was sitting there watching it, and I was like, dude,
it was
this
just
Lobo is perfect. And I almost text you, Mo, but I was like, you know what? I don't know if he's seen
save
it.
it for the air.
Yeah, well, but more, it was one of those things where I was just like, dude, I don't even know if he's even watched it yet. And I'm like, I don't want to spoil it. I want him to like experience it for himself, because I'm just like, this Lobo is perfect.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
The voice, the humor, like
Yeah.
the cadence, like
Mhm.
he was just like he knows he can destroy everything, and he's in prison and he's just chilling, fucking talking dirty to Lois Lane, you know?
He did a handstand.
Yeah. And then even the design too, like the design, like he's got the what they call that, the Van Dyke. I don't know, but something about the Van Dyke that
What's the
design,
Van?
like,
The beard, the facial hair.
the goatee with no mustache, something about that just speaks to me. And the sideburns, I don't know, like it's almost like it's almost like they saw our YouTube show and it's like, you know what? This guy looks like he likes Lobo. Maybe he'll appreciate if we design Lobo like this. You know?
That's funny, man. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. It was a great animated flick, and I just was like, man, like it felt
Parasite?
so on time.
Fucking the way they did Parasite and did, like, you know, Parasite's a weird character because you could do all sorts of things with Parasite because he's still human at the core.
Mm-hmm.
But like him going from the extreme of human and then just going to another extreme of kaiju.
Yeah.
And then tapping into the humanity. And then having an ambivalent end to Parasite where it's like, was it the humanity or was it the hunger for power? Like, that's some fucking Francis Ford Coppola shit. It's like, why don't the fucking comics do this?
Honestly, the only negative I had to say about this film was the Parasite design. And really, it's not even like it's his whole design, it's just his head. And I was just like, oh, that's a strange choice. Like, why would you do that? And of course, by the time we get to the end, I understand why they did it. Like, you know, you definitely get like you said, it's like a clear kaiju kind of influence. But it's just one of these things where it was just like, that's like, there's no really version of Parasite that really looks like that. Yeah. And so I was like, why do it? And then I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm just like, you know, I personally don't feel like, I feel like it would have been just fine if you did like a more classic kind of Parasite and you still have the same ending. But I get it.
But really, what is the classic Parasite?
I feel like the classic Parasite is like the weird, like butthole face looking Parasite. Like that's you know, and don't get me wrong, it's like I understand that there's some people that do it a little different. Like they do them a little bit almost like a more like clay facey kind of deal.
Like amorphous.
Right. and it's like
I don't
you
know what
but-
amorphous means, by the way. I just it felt right.
Look,
But-
Lawrence
but-
likes the dude whose mouth looks like a butthole too.
That's why Nia kicked him out, and he's somewhere else today.
That's why. Exactly. It's like, no, I just feel like that's kind of the more classic kind of look to me. But, it's like, it's fair. Like, I guess I just said, like, there's no version of Parasite that looks like this person.
Yeah.
Oh, and it once you watch the film, you understand, okay, that's why they did it. And it's just like, I don't know if that's a good reason to make that kind of design, but okay. That's like, I'll take it. It's like it didn't take away from the enjoyment of the film. It was just the closest, like it's literally like a nitpick.
And the thing is, it would, like, as a nitpick, technically you would feel it would be a bigger nitpick because he's essentially the big bad of this of film, except for the fact that there's all these things playing in the background with Lex Luthor, and it's like, and then you tune into this fucking shitty ass YouTube show and realize that it's a standalone, and it's like, why the fuck are you doing all these threads? So it's like, yeah, like, okay, that's the shitty part, but it's like there's Luthor with his technology and the way he's manipulating Superman in year one, which adds to their adversarial nature moving forward. Because realistically, like, unless you go back to read from Action Comics #1 to now, like, you don't know exactly why they have that adversarial nature. They attribute it in different issues, different ways here.
Right.
But this one gives you a clear cut, like, wow, like he's there. It kind of does what Marvel does, maybe not in a good way in MCU, where they make everybody related to the villain.
Right.
This kind of makes it, but shows you that process, whereas the MCU does it after the fact. So this actually gives you, like, you don't have to worry about the payoff because you're watching their relationship grow apart, essentially, and evolve from their interactions. Like, I can see this Superman still being okay with Lex Luthor, just mistrusting, but being like, okay, he's not entirely wrong in his fears and his motivations.
Right.
But I got to keep tabs on him, but I can't stop him.
Right. Yeah, man. It was a great flick. And I do agree 100%. Like, it would be a great beginning for a new cinematic or a new animated universe. But, you got to have somebody to, like, curate that kind of thing. And, I don't know exactly who wrote this, but they did a bang up job. And I would put them in charge and say, like, hey, let's make another 11 of these flicks in this universe and just see what happens, see if we can create, like, something special over the course of, like, I don't know. I guess if you're going to make, like, 11 more movies, that'd be over the course of what, maybe like 5-6 more years. It's like, do it. Like, it'd be amazing.
And that was Tim Sheridan.
That wrote it?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that, Jay. That's awesome. Tim Sheridan, like, look, hats off. That's amazing. Good stuff.
Hats off to Butch Lukic.
Is that Lobo?
No. He's the like, I think he did production design or, like, character design on it.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He was one of the directors on the animated series, Batman the Animated Series, and Superman. But he was also one of the artists for the Misfits promotional art.
Nice.
So, but they got him after he did the Batman stuff, but it just fit their style, and so you can actually find Misfits art in the style of Batman the Animated Series. So cool. It's that Butch Lukic comes from that school of, like, your Darwin Cook type of postmodern or neoclassical art style.
Yeah.
Your Ed Brubakers, your
And so, I felt bad. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I feel that kind of helped this animation style, because this has been the best I'm pointing at my TV, so if you see me like, why is he pointing at this weird Spider-Man black and white? No, I'm pointing at my TV down there. The art style in this was the art style in this was superb. Like it fit the animation. I didn't feel like it was choppy. Like was fluid where it needed to be. There was a hard black outline around it, but
I love that.
I hate it in animation. I love it in comics, but it kind of fits this new HBO Max style of animation. This, your
Wait, why is it HBO Max style?
Well, no, I'm only because that's.
You mean what they do on HBO Max?
Yeah, it's what they're gonna be doing from this point forward.
Got you.
And you're gonna see a lot more of that. But yeah, it did, like, it looked, when Perry White was doing it, it didn't look as good because Perry White is not a character you're like rooting for, and but when Superman and particularly when Superman, Lobo, and Martian Manhunter were standing together at the top of the Daily Planet, like that black outline, like fuck, I want that whole scene tattooed on my back.
It's amazing, man. Like I literally was like, oh, I love it, just because it definitely gives the feel of like a comic book come to life. It felt like it almost feels like comic strip. You know what I mean? But in a good way. Like, when you get like, and so I was just like, dude, I really enjoyed it. And it's definitely a bold choice to make, like literally, I guess, because it's like a bold line, hard black outline around everything. But it to me, it made every character kind of pop, and I enjoyed it. So yeah, I felt bad that I almost forgot to mention it. So yeah, so okay, I guess we should rate this. Oz, what would you say?
I didn't watch it.
Oh, damn it, Oz.
Oh, what
Oz,
a dick.
I was going to until you told me I had to, and then I just didn't.
I didn't tell you you had to.
I watched Bill and Ted instead.
You know what?
I asked you to.
But really, he did have to, because it's like he watches bad shows, reads bad comics, and defends them. Like, this would actually get, like, I'm the DC guy. Like, this is what I've been building for. This is why I've supported these pieces of shit for the last year since AT&T took over.
You understand now. Oz likes the bad stuff. That's his DC. His DC.
Well, no, it's on brand with his Trump support, where he just, like, I want to make it great, but I'm destroying it from within.
Oh, jeez, man. I love it. That wasn't a demand, Oz. It was a request. I literally put the little kitten that said, please.
Yeah, I understand you're trying to manipulate me.
Your psychological warfare of kindness.
I was about to watch it, and then I got your text saying, you know what? Bill and Ted sounds good. Watch that.
He's like, F that kindness.
Oz sees pussy, and he's like, you know what? They're trying to manipulate me.
That's what that shit does. When pussy starts looking back at you, that's a whole another.
I'm mad that I haven't watched.
That's why he's married.
You're mad that what, Mo?
That I haven't seen Bill and Ted yet.
It's only been out for like a week, right?
Yeah, but
Superman.
It came out the same day as New Mutants.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm actually mad because so Metallica did a drive-in thing too. So I didn't go see that.
I didn't.
And then I didn't go see new Bill and Ted. And then I didn't go, but I saw New Mutants.
Yeah.
So I'm really mad. Like,
I
wish Bill and Ted would have been in the theaters.
Like, that's why I produced the Heavy Metal Minute for this week, but I'm not even putting it on because I lost my cred. Like, I hear the experience of a drive-in Metallica concert has been superb. Like, no bad reviews, no nothing, no people shouting. Yeah, everybody enjoyed it. Everybody loved it.
So, Mo, what would you rate Superman Man of Tomorrow?
Well, when I thought it was going to kick off a new animated universe, I was giving it a 5 out of 5. But since it's not, I'm giving it a 0.
He's like, burn it down.
I'll watch it tomorrow.
Like there's no point in watching it because it's not going to lead to anything good. Anything that comes after might not be as good. So
Can't
watch
the point to watching it just be to enjoy it and experience it in and of itself?
Well, if that was the thing, then comics wouldn't be the industry it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, everything would be a graphic novel instead of a series.
That's fair. Jay, what do you think of Superman Man of Tomorrow?
I liked it. I would give it a 4. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't on board with all the voices,
Okay.
but other than that, yeah, it was pretty great.
Which voice didn't you like?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask too. What character?
I don't know. I didn't like Lobo,
Hmm.
and I was like, not really for Lex, like Zachary Quinto. I don't know. There are like just a couple of times where he just like sounds out of character. Like he goes from Lex to being Zachary.
He's like this was Siler.
Yeah, like so that was weird. That was weird.
Okay. Now Lobo, like what? Why didn't you like Lobo?
There was just something about his voice that was just off to me. Like, you know, I listened to Lobo and Superman the Animated Series. I listened to Lobo in Justice League Unlimited. I listened to Lobo in Young Justice. Like, I loved all of those Lobos. But he just sounded off to me. I don't know. I guess those other Lobos have imprinted themselves on me.
That's fair. Like I love this is why you gotta love Jay. Like Jay will mess around and quietly listen to all of your opinion and just be like, "You're completely wrong." Like it just, but keep that all on the inside.
Like
I'm not mad at that.
We actually have to do like a separate Joe's Fantastic Forum where we can actually just ask, like, what is it about, for example, the Justice League Lobo? Because that one to me was a garbage one. Like,
you like the Justice League Lobo either?
No, the Young Justice. Sorry.
Oh, Young Justice. Okay.
Yeah, because Justice League Lobo was just Brad Garrett again.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So, but like the Young Justice Lobo, like what was it? Like who played him and why was he that good? Now I'm not gonna ask Joe that now. That would have to be the show.
I want Joe to watch the Krypton logo and hear his opinion on that.
Right. Like that's I think the only Lobo I haven't seen. But I don't know, like, and you know, as far as like the Young Justice Lobo, I remember liking it, but I don't actually remember it off the top of my head. Like, I
Because it
remember
didn't stand out.
Like, I remember the Justice League Lobo. I've watched that episode like dozens of times, and I can pretty much, you know, that's not a part of me, but like that is in one of the things like ingrained in my memory of that show. And I don't remember the Young Justice one that much. I just remember not disliking him that much. Like I remember him being fine. Like I'll go back and
look, don't go. Look. We're gonna do a dissection of your Lobo preference, but that's for Patreon. Or if we get 100,000 likes on this video, click right here. Yeah.
I think the likes is like here.
It
I
doesn't
gotta figure out this camera. Like,
you know where the likes is? The likes is right here. Yeah. Because nobody gives a shit.
right there, right
Yeah.
there.
Like I'm actually doing the Joe Lobo dissection as a bonus thing because I know people are not gonna like this.
Let's see.
So,
How can
I'm doing that
jump
so that I don't have to do it because I'm too invested in the character of Lobo. Then I don't want to hear bad things about it. So I'm putting that hurdle. So yeah,
There it is.
Do Kirby hands.
yeah,
Join the
hurt-
Patreon, you get Kirby cock.
yeah.
Whoa.
But
What?
even aside from his voice, I thought he was written amazing. Like, I think one of the things that doesn't come up in animation is the fact that he's kind of like immortal. So
Yeah.
that was like, pretty cool that they brought that up.
Well, even the way they showed it though, like even when it comes up, they don't show it. Like they in a way they kind of Deadpooled him, but not in the way they would showcase Deadpool's immortalness. You know, here they kind of left it, and then they showed it to it paid off. Yeah,
Right.
which is just a testament to how good this movie is.
Yeah.
Like everyone's characterization I love. And the art I loved. Yeah, I thought it was amazing. I would give it a 4.
Is it bad that I want to see Alexandra Daddario like cosplay Lois Lane?
But say that
You want
again.
to see who?
The lady that did the voice, like I want her like being Lois Lane, like in
Oh,
costume.
does she
or
does she look like Lois Lane?
I think she can. I mean, she probably looks a little young,
Oh,
but the
then
way she
yeah.
did the voice, it's like she can actually be Lois Lane.
Yeah. No, she was great.
Yeah,
I mean,
she looks like Lois Lane.
she's playing a young Lois Lane anyway. So
Oh wow.
Yeah, but the way she looks like younger Lois Lane, like Smallville Lois Lane. Lois
I think Joe just looked her up.
Lane.
Yeah.
No, she's a beautiful woman. I don't picture Lois Lane with those bright blue eyes, though.
I do. After the Superman animated series.
Okay.
what's she look like?
Like
Look,
Share your screen.
look at my screen.
I see it. Yeah, she could do it.
Yeah, she was in the Percy Jackson movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's where I first saw her.
What?
She's done way better stuff since. That's just like the earliest memory I have of her as an actress. She's also in that McConaughey TV show that was like all critically acclaimed.
She wasn't True Detective. She was in a movie, a horror movie that came out. Not even horror movie. It was just like a slasher movie kind of. But I forget the name. Babe, do you remember the name of that movie?
Jay doesn't like it when you call him babe.
Wait, sorry, what?
Emily's on the delay. So
I think Jay doesn't like it when you call him babe.
That's true.
He's like you refer to him as honey.
well, I always call Jay Sugar Tits.
Sure.
She was in Texas Chainsaw. Is that the one?
No, that's not the one. But that was a good one too. That Texas Chainsaw was actually pretty good. I did see that. But she was in this movie where she played a brainwashed Christian that was like killing metalheads in a ritual satanic sacrifice to like propagandize the fact that heavy metal was Satan worship.
Damn, that's like a Moses biopic.
Well, that's
Yeah.
definitely not Baywatch. So let me
Yeah. Baywatch was good too, but whether she was in it or not, like Zac
Oh, she
Efron was
She was
amazing.
in Avengers Academy. She did the voice for the Wasp.
Mm,
I
okay.
didn't-
Yeah, man. So cool. Yeah, I look, this movie's amazing. I give it a 5 because it's amazing. Like I needed it. I'm happy that I got to see it.
It's the one
And-
good thing to come out of 2020, huh?
I mean, listen, it was just nice to see a Superman that was like hopeful. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But I was so happy when they asked for what's the S for, and he didn't say hope. I was
Yeah.
happy that he just said Superman. Like,
yeah. So no, it's a great flick, man. I can't recommend it enough. If you get the opportunity, you should watch Superman: Man of Tomorrow. It's good. It's good. All right. We should move on and talk about La Muerta. Is it La Muerta #1 retaliation or La Muerta retaliation #1?
It doesn't matter
Damn, Mo.
because it's not #1. It's like
La what?
Well, it's not. La Muerta. Right? Did I say
oh,
it
La
wrong?
Muerta.
Cover.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what I
No,
said.
I mean you said it right. Yeah, you said it right. You're just American. That's
I mean,
It's like
putting
Belize is an English-speaking country.
the
Yeah.
subtitle of retaliation makes it sound like
you
a
live.
sequel.
You live in the United States, which is the shithole country known as Americania, and you don't pronounce things right.
Right.
But
La-
La Puerta,
La
Roller
Muerta.
skates.
Oh, damn it. Hold on. I'm sorry.
or La Muerta, I got the homage cover, so this isn't the cover you get. I paid extra for this cover. It looks like Desperado, like the movie
Yeah.
poster for Desperado, and it's amazing. The cover is amazing. I wish I had that just as a print.
That's a badass.
It's a Kickstarter. This is limited to 400, by the way. So I'm one of 399 other people that has it. It came with a lot of goodies, but should I do the unboxing now? Like since
I mean,
we're-
you could definitely, yeah. If you,
We should save unboxings for their own videos because
No,
we're gonna.
Hey, like, you know what? We'll edit the unboxing out of this one, and then that'll be its own.
First of all, you know damn well we ain't editing shit.
That's why I'm doing it now.
Oh my god!
So
Damn, he gave you the eyes.
I've been saving all these boxes behind me for nothing. Then
Well, you should have filmed them and then published them.
look, I'm setting shit up.
Yeah. So it came with this bumper sticker, "In Death She Lives." That's the tagline for this book. It was a Kickstarter. It's one of those. I actually funded this Cockstarter. This Kickstarter, in one of my. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I got a big load of edibles at some point during the pandemic, and I actually posted like "Wake me up when the pandemic's over," because and I woke up and I ran out. It came with this little art print by Joel Gomez, which is Joel Gomez himself is a artist that I've been a fan of just from the convention circuit. It came with this little letter telling me, "Yeah, thank you for giving me my money." We got this this bookmark. I don't read books. I don't need a bookmark. Every comic I read in one sitting. It came with a little calendar, which this might come in handy for me. I don't know.
is that 2020?
2021, so it's hopeful.
Oh, okay, good. All right, there we go.
Although this comic is all about death, so
That calendar stands for
it might be hopeful in the fact that I don't have to deal with none of this bullshit from 2020 if I die. It came with this postcard here, but by Joel Gomez again, at Joel G on Twitter. Came with this weird dollar bill that I might put next to my ghost dollar bill in my dollar bill collection. No La Muerta condom like I got for the Lady Death Kickstarter, but it came with this sticker. Here's that.
Okay.
Right to the. I got some.
Procreate.
Yeah. Well, it is a Hispanic character, so it would be off-brand to put a condom. It got some little trading cards. The character design for this character is amazing. I agree. That's what really got me into funding this, because I fell for it again because I talked about this when I did. Here's a metallic foil card, so you might get a little weird reflections in the webcam. But I did talk about how with the Lady Death one, it felt like I was a jumping on point, but it wasn't. And when we reviewed that issue, it's right here for you watching at home, which is really not. But here's another card. The way that Brian Pulido does these new Chaos comics, now Coffin comics, is that he just sells them on Kickstarter. He puts the next issue on Kickstarter before he even read the newest issue. The newer issue is on Kickstarter. I'm not gonna say it's a bad business model for him. It's a bad business model if you're a dude trying to read Brian Pulido comics, because it's definitely not a way to get comics. I got this little enamel pin. Now, this enamel pin, look, I could do a whole video series on reviewing enamel pins, because there's a certain way to do them. You know what? I did plan to have my enamel pins back here for this show, but I didn't because I had a longer day than I thought today. So I wasn't able.
We'll add those when we edit this out. We'll add those digitally.
Yeah. But this enamel pin, like when I review enamel pins, this is on the bottom of the list. But I appreciate it nonetheless because it is a stretch goal. The shit got like 9,000% funded, so I got all these extras. Yeah, I was only supposed to get. I only paid for the physical comic, which I showed you earlier, and the digital comic, which you guys got to. And I have this magnet, La Muerta, little magnet. Which,
La Muerta.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I mean, for an unboxing video, it sure sounds like you've already seen this stuff.
Yeah. And then we have a little wooden coin pog type thing and a pin that's not enamel, like a button.
Did you just do a magic trick? How did that work?
That did look amazing, actually.
I know.
Dude just like snapped his finger and it changed. It was
It
amazing.
looked like the wooden coin turned into a pin all of a sudden. I was like, wait a minute, what the hell are supposed to just do?
One thing that cannot be said about me is that I'm not a showman. You know? I give you the minutia, but there's a little bit of detail in there that you have to watch the whole bullshit. So
I'm throwing money at my monitor right now. That was so good.
Like, whoa, that was amazing. I don't know how you did that, but that
People
was
need to
cool.
click on that like button just for that and then watch it again. Stop pointing that way. It's like he's never seen YouTube before.
yeah, so it's down. The like button's down. That whole unboxing was to showcase a little trick I learned. But you know, yeah, I did do this on Kickstarter one time when I was high as fuck. I'm like, you know what? $25, who gives a shit? Like, I might not be able to work ever again. And luckily, our great fearless leader Pelosi broke the line and got a haircut, and now we can work.
Without a mask.
Yeah, without a mask.
Oh,
And now we can work. All of a sudden, they're like, yeah, barbershops can open. Because they know once we saw that shit, we're fucking opening.
Look, she looked good for that press conference afterwards. They did a good job, whoever. That.
I don't blame her for wanting a haircut. Everybody fucking wants a haircut. You know, so
I want my hair to grow.
yeah. Look, heck, I'm going one day to what is it, Tucson, Tucsonia,
Tucson.
Tucson.
La
I'm
Muerta.
gonna go to Tucson and I'm gonna make you look good bald, and you'll never want hair again.
You'll never want hair again.
Look,
You'll
man,
shave all the hair
I've
off your body.
seen myself bald. It's there. It's there.
You haven't seen yourself Magnum bald.
Yeah, yeah. You haven't seen yourself Magnum bald.
Look, that's
But,
when all the pussy shows up.
Yeah. That's my specialty. I always say, like, after this haircut, if you don't get a girlfriend, you at least get a boyfriend. But yeah, this is La Muerta number one. That isn't the number one. It's like number 5 in a
Right.
series. So the experience of reading it is not a good experience. It didn't. They didn't do a good job of like bringing me into this issue 5 if I was the first time buying this. Like if I bought this in a comic book, like when you see this cover in a comic book store, like you would want to pick it up and it's not a good jumping on point. The Lady Death one that we did, link up here. When we reviewed that one did do a decent job of making you feel like you didn't miss a lot, even though you did, and it caught you up and actually made you want to read the next one. But this one, number 5.
What are you doing to Mayor Oz?
Now, you're calling it number 5. On the cover, it says number 1.
Right.
I think it's part 5 of like a ongoing series or something, right?
Yeah.
It's like the next book after the first arc, right?
Yeah. I guess that's a good way of putting it. A
Were
diplomatic way.
the first 4 kickstarted too?
Yeah. It turns out everything Coffin Comics does, they started off on Kickstarter, and then some comic shops carry it. But yeah, this one it's an issue 5.
It's weird that they call it number 1 because there's not going to be a number 2, right? Like it's a self-contained story, and the next one we get is going to be another number 1 because it's the next story. Is the
well, it's going
impression
to be called number 1, but it's going to take place after this, so it's good. The ramifications of what happened here are going to play through on that one.
right? But that's what I'm saying. The next one won't be number 2. It's going to be number 1 of La Muerta, whatever the return or whatever.
Yeah, they actually
La Muerta Resurrection number 1.
La
They
Muerta not so muerta.
they do a good job of showing you where you are here, except that some of them haven't been shown on Kickstarter yet. So the one that we bought here, it says coming May 2020. That was La Muerta number 1, but that was May 2020, the Kickstarter, so you don't get it till August. La Muerta, that's the last one they show on here. They show Hell Witch, which is one that they didn't trick me into buying. I wanted to, but it looked a lot like Purgatory, so I'm like, you know what, this might be just Purgatory shit they're giving me. But yeah, I know Joe when we talked about the Chaos Comics, was it Chaos versus Hack Slash? And then we talked about the Lady Death one, where it's like there's kind of a crossover, but the Lady Death one didn't have. I feel like the Hack Slash one did a better job of priming you on these characters than these Kickstarter issues did. Is that an accurate statement to say?
Yes, I think it does. However, I will say for a crossover, you kind of have to. Where this one, like, because a crossover is trying to attract people. You're trying to get the Hack Slash fans and the Chaos, and trying to get the Chaos fans and the Hack Slash. So you have to like give a good introduction of your characters. This one, it just kind of goes. It's like it tells you who the bad guy is, and it tells you that the good guys are after the bad guy. And honestly, I don't mind a fast, like, I don't necessarily need a deep introduction to the characters. I totally get what you're saying. Like, it does feel like there is a lot of information missing. However, as a self-contained thing, I didn't feel like I was too lost. Just there was a lot of stuff that I didn't really know, but not to the detriment of, like, I get what the girl is trying to do, and for the most part, why she's trying to do it. Like, I don't get the how exactly, but I do get what she's doing.
Now, if the only way you could get this comic was paying $26 on a Kickstarter campaign, how would you feel?
I would want better art and maybe like this is something that doesn't bug me all the time, but sometimes it does. But when you have a nude scene with no nudity, then it's kind of like, why do you even have a nude scene in this?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's a little distracting at times. So I would say
All that non-nakedness.
that would be the
That's the
disappointment
title of this episode.
of paying $26 for this. Like, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I hope I don't just sound like a huge pervert.
What about $6 for the
Here-
comic and all the other stuff that he showed you?
I went to go get something to drink.
So did I.
But the thing is, it's like, yeah, they give you all this extra cool stuff, but like for someone like me, like I don't know if I'm a fan of this person. They have all these stickers. Yeah.
Right.
I love the design, so I could be a poser for this one. You know, it's fine.
I like Polito, not just because I might be related to him too.
You might be
Polito
related.
is my grandmother's maiden name.
Oh, got you. I'm like, what is?
And he kind of like she had that curly hair with the male pattern baldness going on that he has.
Your grandma look like Brian Polito.
A little bit, yeah. If he gains like 60 pounds, it's like spitting image. That's not even a joke. I'm serious. I would look at it like, hey.
We're reviewing the comic, not the man. Because he didn't even actually write this. This is just his publisher. Like I think he created the character, but the story is by Brian Polito, but it's written by Mike McLean and illustrated by Joe Gomez.
Oh, so he's just a publisher now. He didn't actually write it.
He created the character in its inception, but this specific book was written by somebody else.
Right, he's the McLeod of this book.
So Mo, did you not read issue 1 through 4?
No, I would have had to pay $26 for those too.
Okay, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's
and the thing is, like, Brian Polito has a good stranglehold on the market because people like this book was funded 900% half an hour after it was launched. You know,
crazy.
Which is why I keep doing it because like I'm going to get all these extra things, but really, like, it's extra things, but I want good comics. But I want good comics from Brian Polito because I'm a fan. Like, I love you. I still want, like, with all this, you know what? I'm Brian Polito. You're watching right now, listening. Do a fucking Evil Ernie Kickstarter. Do a fucking Evil Ernie Kickstarter. I'll give you $100 right now on that. I'll put $100 towards the funding of an Evil Ernie thing. That's a character I loved. And I loved him in relation to Lady Death. I love fucking Smiley the Psychotic Button. I love all that. I'm buying La Muerta because I love your characters. Like, this is a new character I would love. And I do. This comic isn't a good comic.
There it is. And I, honestly, it's interesting because, I was listening to you and Jay speak about, your experience with the book, and a lot of what the two of you said made sense to me. But I feel as though, like, I honestly didn't have an issue with this book. Like, I realized there was a fair amount of things that happened to different characters, and there was story that happened before this moment that we're coming into now. And I don't feel as though, like, from a story perspective, though, that, like, this issue had a problem with where they pick up in the story or the types of things they're trying to tell us. Like, I don't even know that. Like, I felt like it filled in the gaps enough. Like, I haven't read anything, but I know that, like, okay, she had her friend that she thought died, and like they told me that, and I realized that, okay, Mama Z, she killed her, in the last arc, and now Mama Z's back, and like, okay, I got that, and you know, obviously she has her boy, her partner. I'm not exactly sure if it's like a partner or I'm pretty sure it's a partner, but like, you know, or another hero in his own, Loco, I think it was. And he has like, you know, the dude with the luchador mask or whatever, and he got hurt last time, and it's like
There's like two dudes with a similar luchador mask,
there's two people with luchador masks.
or is it the same?
No, it's the same guy.
He was like super hurt at the beginning of the book, and then he was
And
hurt.
he came back.
Okay.
He got off of the. He came from death's door to help La Muerta.
Right.
Right. So, you know, like all that was covered for me. Now, my issue with this book, and I think you said it right, Mo, is like, it's not a good comic. Like, and it's like, it's literally about like, it's not the story and it's not the characters, because the characters are interesting. And like you said, the character design is fantastic. Like, like when I saw the character on cover, I was like, oh, damn, who's this? I want to know more about this person. But, you know, one of the biggest things that this book does, and I feel like, Jay, you and I were having a conversation about this, I don't remember, like not relatively recently, is it's a comic book, right? But it's telling me things instead of showing me things. And that to me, I was like, dude, like this is terrible, because it's literally like, it's one thing, like I love comics that have like the thoughts of the characters, where you like, you know, in a you know, whether it's in a thought bubble or whether it's in a panel, you know, it's like I want to know the inner workings of the character, the main character, and what they're thinking and all that kind of stuff. But this wasn't that. Like this was
a glorified storyboard.
Yeah.
I mean
screenplay. But
yeah, exactly. Like they're telling me what I'm supposed to be seeing, but I'm reading a comic book, so you can show that to me. You're supposed to draw a picture, and the picture should convey what you're trying to tell me. Like there literally was a thing where a guy like died off screen, or like, you know, that was another part too. But like, Mama Z's brother, like, gets tossed off of like he falls down like the middle of, they're in a construction site, because it's like, okay, you know, cliche construction site, final fight type deal, and
Mexican
he gets tossed
construction.
right. So he gets tossed like over a railing down the middle, like the shaft of the uncompleted building, and they tell me that he hits the bottom, and I'm just like, why would you tell me that? Like they tell me that, and then they show me a picture of her, of La Muerta, like hopping a railing or something, and I'm like, I don't need to see her hop a railing. What I need to see is the guy hit the floor. So I know that, you know, which it's so crazy, because that was the thing that really bothered me too, because he fell down the center of the building because it's incomplete, and then Mama Z fell outside of the building. Like she fell too, but she fell like, you know, like on the outside of the building. But at the end, they end up like right next to each other, and I'm just like, that's impossible. Like, like it was just like, I was like, but, huh?
I thought she crawled to him.
They didn't show us that, and they didn't tell it to us. So it's just like, you know, it's like there's no look. If she did crawl to him, that would make sense. But they didn't show, like what they showed us was them laying next to each other, and I'm like,
this sounds awful.
Well, but here's the thing.
It's like, not that awful.
And here it's like you can see all the potential for how good it can be. That's the messed up part. Like it's like I read this and I was like, damn, like because, and again, they don't give us a lot here. Like from what I can tell, it's like, you know, and this kind of goes to Mo's point where he's like, it's number one. It says number one, but it's actually like number 5. So I guess La Muerta was a veteran, and you know, like that's part like where she learned how to like kill or be efficient in combat. And you know, I don't know why exactly she decided to take it upon herself to fight, you know, criminals or whatever. But you know, if it was
Well,
like,
That's where your $26 go to work when you fund a Kickstarter. Because in the bio, when you're like trying to see if I'm gonna fund it, they tell you her backstory.
oh, okay, well there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
Yeah, see.
it's kind of like the ghostwriter type deal where she happened to be in the wrong place in the wrong time and gets unjustly killed and nobody avenges her. So she becomes like a spirit of vengeance, essentially.
Oh, so
Yeah.
that's what happens at the end where you're like, oh, okay, I can see. Now that doesn't like for me, I was like, I don't know what this means.
Wait,
but
is
I'm
she
interested.
is she actually dead? Because I'm reading the bio on the Coffin Comics website. It doesn't say that she's dead. It says
She was left for dead, and she might have gotten powered. I think is the deal.
this says to answer Lawrence's question, she is a U.S. soldier coming back from Afghanistan. Her brother was with the Zavala cartel that worships death, and then hijinks ensue. Her whole family gets murdered. She survives by being in a coma, comes out of it. The cops won't help her, so she takes the law into her own hands.
Okay, see, so right, okay, so it's like a little bit of that story wouldn't have hurt to have in the book, especially if you're gonna brand it like a one.
Fortunately, La Muerta Lives Volume 1 trade paperback is available for $20 at Coffin Comics, and it's stories 1 through 3. So you get the first 3 for $20. That sounds like a Mo deal.
I'm in.
So wait, where's the reform?
While I've been kind of talking down on this book, I want to actually read those too. So I'm
available, signed by creator Brian Pulido as a no-cost option. So I'm guessing that means you get a free signed copy if you click it.
Yeah. Look, it's better than sketchcomicsart.com does. Like, I still haven't gotten my Animosity Volume 1 signed, and it was supposed to be signed at their booth at Comic-Con last year.
See, and that's the messed up part. Like, that's the thing that I think that was most disappointing about this book for me was like, I can tell that the concepts work because they're working here despite the fact that the art's not great and the writing is actually like subpar. And I'm just like, man, that's crazy because it's like, I'm just thinking like, what could this character be if we got like I don't even need a good artist. I just need an artist that's good at storytelling. You know what I'm saying? Like, that can show me the story, moving it along panel by panel, because doesn't happen in this book.
Oh, slight correction. This is story 6.
Okay. Not 5.
No, 6.
Okay.
Now, I wouldn't even blame the artist, Joe Gomez, from meeting him and talking to him and seeing other work he's done. This is a direction issue.
Like, you need an editor?
Yeah, you need a good editor. Let's see who the editor is.
Yeah.
I'm sliding towards nepotism, but
Pulido.
No, Nick Gallegos. All right.
Okay.
He's the editor.
Yeah, see, look, we got to take his job.
Or, I'm going to tweet him. Hey, man, because Milk La Muerta book's good.
Check out our review.
Wait, Mo, you pledged 26?
I think so. I don't remember. I was,
yeah.
Yeah.
He was high.
There's more than one 26 pledge.
Okay, which one's the first one?
The first one is the premiere edition, which is probably what you have, the limited edition.
Yeah, no, I have a homage edition.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's the third of the $26 edition. It's just because I saw one and it said that there's one $26 edition. I guess you probably wouldn't have got this one because it seems like it's all digital. Like, I don't think you actually get physical things, and that has the full set of books, but they're all digital. So now, as I read it, I understand why you wouldn't get it, because I know you like to get stuff that you can physically hold and fondle.
Yeah, you know what? In hindsight, I should have done that. That's my bad. Like, I can't even be mad at Brian Pulido for that. But I did want something to have, because I did like the Lady Death homage edition, where it was like the recreation of Captain America #1, you know, with Lady Death punching Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
So that got me. Like, I didn't know that that's what I was getting when I pledged to that. But when I got it and held it in my hand, I'm like, man, this is tight. Yeah. So this homage edition, I love the cover. The cover is great. I wish the art in the comics was on this level. I don't regret getting this, but if I could have gotten the other issues, then that would have been a different thing. Yeah. I mean,
And it sounds like we're getting a future pins edition. Oh, there's a Lady Death where she's got the Infinity Gauntlet.
yeah, that was another homage that they did. That's a good one. I seen it.
That's the one that's actually the Infinity Gauntlet #1 cover, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, with all the rays of light from the
The Starlingisms.
Yeah. Okay. So what, Jay? What would you rate La Muerta Retaliation #1?
I would give it a 3.5. Like, it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it could have been better. It would have been nice if the art were a little better. And there's like one panel where the guy's standing and then he's being dangled over out a window. That was a little.
So say it, man.
Like, there needs to be an in-between panel there.
Yeah. It's like you didn't read her thoughts. You were supposed to read her thoughts.
Which
Man,
is weird because
grabbed him by the ankle and then dangled him out the window. It was crazy.
when you actually do read her thoughts, at some point they feel out of place.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, why would you think that?
Yeah.
You're thinking stuff that you should just see and move on. But, we should see it too. But no, we don't see it because I don't know. I can't tell you. Like, I've never seen it before where I was just like, wow, like, why would they leave out this panel? I'm just like that's important to the story. Like, that's
Right.
like, what's happening? Like, why isn't there even just like some motion lines or something? Like, I'm just like, I don't know what we're doing right now. Like, what's happening? So I don't know.
And I know I've definitely seen better, but this one didn't like bug me that much. So yeah, I would say 3.5.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Moses?
I would give it a 3. I don't regret giving money to support a talented comic book creator. I mean, he's been a publisher. Like, he was the dude that locked down the WWF at the time and licensed before Titan. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like he had he had heavy metal comics. He had Static X comics. He had fucking the Kane comic, the Mankind comic. Like, Chaos Comics was like one of these comic publishers that was underrated. Like, it could have been the big four. Yeah, like they were producing content that was tight and licensed products with only like 12 books in their whole roster.
Undertaker.
And yeah, the Undertaker, the Mankind, the Kane, the ICP comic. Like, the ICP comic came out every month with a single, like a new ICP song every month for a year.
That's
You
pretty
know?
cool.
I still have my stat. Like, one of the best songs. This is where it dropped off for me, when the single was the Human Oddities song, which is like the theme song for the wrestlers, and it's like they chose that to be the single for September, and it's like, well, this isn't new, but that was the drop off. I was like, this song isn't new, but it fit into the motif of the album they were putting out. But you
Was
could
it
only.
uncensored though?
I'm sorry.
Was
Say
it
again?
uncensored?
Yeah, it was uncensored.
Yeah, so you have the only version that's uncensored.
Yeah, and they actually gave you a CD with it too, so you had 12 CDs with one song each month with your comic, and
That's
then
wild.
and you know, if you wanted to buy the full album to have the full album, you had it. If you not, you had the singles, but you
Right.
had the story that tied into that album. Like that was
Mhm.
a really good way of doing this alternate media type of storytelling, kind of like how they did Lost and Cloverfield and
Yeah.
all that. But you know, it was limited at the time. The internet wasn't what it was.
Right.
And so yeah, I give Brian Pulido mad respect for that to this day, even with reading this La Muerta book with 3. Look, I might fund Hell Witch #3. And this one I know is #3 because I actually passed on 1 and 2 on Kickstarter. So, but the character is good. But to me, it just seems like a a rehash of Purgatory. Like if you look, if you
Mhm.
Google Hell Witch and then Google Purgatory, it's like okay, he can't use Purgatory because he sold off that character, so he's using Hell Witch.
Who do you
Yeah.
sell it to?
I think Avatar has it.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Dynamite has Evil Ernie,
Mhm.
and yeah, like, but I mean, I'll do a Kickstarter to buy back Evil Ernie. Like, I'm down. Like, in fact, you know, Brian Pulido, if you're watching, every third haircut I do now that we're open because Pelosi broke the line, uh, every third haircut goes to the bringing back Evil Ernie back to the fold. If that's the case, like, I'll be an investor. You don't have to credit me, but I'll appreciate it. But I'll give you every third haircut I do from here till the day I die if you bring back Evil Ernie
Dang. In perpetuity.
in perpetuity.
I got $5 on it.
Kirby Hand. Link in the bio.
I love Kirby Hands.
All right. Yeah, I would give La Muerta a 3 as well. It has a lot of potential. It's not a good book, unfortunately, but it could be. It's just, you know, I don't know. I can't tell you who's to blame, but it just doesn't come together, unfortunately. But it has a lot of great ideas, and I would like to see it like redone.
I feel like if this book would have came out on Image, it would be pretty deadly.
Yeah, yeah. But it's unfortunate though, because Pretty Deadly didn't do that great either.
Good, but it got 2 good arcs, and those 2 good. Like, what more do you want than 2 just good fucking arcs? Like,
no, and that's like, yeah, it's like it, despite the high quality of the book.
Yeah. In fact, this shout out to Joe. Like, now I've been watching Infinity Train, and it's like, it reminds me of Green Wake and that debacle.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
it was like it was a masterpiece of 6 issues, and like, we'll do another series since people are buying it. It's like, okay, we'll do till 10, and they're like, no, do 25, okay, and then they cancel it at 7. You know, and that kind of like reverberated what, especially in watching Infinity Train like the book 2, where it's like, okay, I can see where book 1 was a complete like tale masterpiece, and then trying to not crowbar something in, but do something of equal quality for book 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it went. They green waked it.
They green waked it. So cool.
Hashtag green.
So, gents, what do you think? Do we got any news you all want to do before we get out of here, or what do y'all want to?
We're ahead of schedule, so we could do some. Do you want me to play news music?
Yeah, play some news music.
Woo! Comic book news.
We should have a like current. Well, not like that, but like.
All right, what's happening in the news?
So recently, Noelle Stevenson got in trouble for an inside joke from She-Ra, and she made an apology. She apologized, and she says she's going to be donating money and getting a life coach to help her check her privilege and not be as racist. And what
I want.
happened was,
I'm gonna become a life coach to check people's privilege.
what happened was there's a character on She-Ra. His name is Bo, and he uses a bow like as his weapon. So they came up with a bunch of brothers for him to maybe use, maybe not. And the whole thing was all their names rhyme with, end with the O. So, they had Woe, Oboe, and So. Now, the problem with So, he is a farmer. And a lot of people were pissed that they have a black farmer character that didn't even make it into the thing, but just the fact that he exists, a ton of people got mad, and it seems a little ridiculous to me.
Wait,
But
black people can't be farmers?
apparently, it's racist if black people are farmers.
How dare you even ask the question, Oz? I will be. You'll be hiring me as your life coach to help check your privilege. You son of a bitch.
Like, because slaves did farm work, now having a black farmer is racist. Apparently,
I mean, slaves pick cotton. Is it racist to wear a cotton shirt?
I don't think that's the same thing. But I don't think either are racist. Like it's like
Yeah.
you have black people that choose to be farmers, like for real in real life right now.
Right. I mean, well, yeah, and that's the difference is this character chose to do it. He wasn't forced to do it, right?
right. And I have the picture.
Now, yeah, if he had some yeah, how they draw him could affect my opinion of this actually.
Uh-oh. Too late, Oz.
I'm gonna reserve judgment until I see this picture.
Now you need a life coach.
How racist is it?
How racist is it?
It's not
America's #1 game show.
I know. It's so true.
Okay, so if you check out my screen, we have the 5 brothers. So
They all look
is,
white to me.
So does look white, actually.
Yeah.
So
Apparently, some people, quite a few people, were offended by this.
why does that little girl look like the one from Craig of the Creek?
Oh, she is. That's my screensaver. Or
Oh, the one.
That's like one of my favorite scenes. It's just so funny to me. But aside from the point. So yeah, I mean, people called her out on it. She apologized. I think it's ridiculous. But she told her supporters to not attack anyone that feels offended. And so I won't attack them.
It sounds like people that don't quite understand what like real racism and oppression is.
You know what? It reminds me of that rabbi who, when people were upset with like Cy Borgman from Harley Quinn,
Mm-hmm.
and the rabbi is like, we have like actual racism, like actual problems, as opposed to this like fictional character that's used for humor.
Yeah.
And it's like, it reminds me of that because I can see how I hesitate to see, I could see how you could be offended just because like even looking from your point of view, it still feels ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so weird. And I know, like, at this time, I'm thinking, like, because so much bad shit is happening, that people are like, the slightest thing will set people off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's like
so,
this, these are like the straws breaking the camel's back.
right. Well, kind of. Yeah.
But they're not really straws. Everybody's like all just in a hypersensitive state. I'm sorry, say that again, Jay?
Like, you got to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it, there's certain aspects of portraying certain things. Like the way that you describe that character so doesn't seem like it's a stereotype or perpetuating anything or influenced by conditioning of a social ideology, not of the way things are type. You know what I mean? When you see,
Play on words.
and the thing, when you see something like Cyborg in Teen Titans Go, where it's like that should have a little more outcry than So does.
Oh, definitely.
But
Cyborg is definitely racist. Definitely.
He's more robot than man, yet he still has to sound like a stereotypical black man. Like that, he should sound more like Sheldon, really, from Big Bang Theory.
I mean, listen, I just want him to sound like a human being.
Yeah, but that's one of those weird things where it's like now, even when you try to convey something to get people the gears, the little hamster wheel running in their head, it like backfires now because everything needs to have, it's all or nothing in a sense. And people blame Trump because Trump's America and it's a pendulum swing, but really I think this has started since the Bush administration, the second Bush. That's when people decided to stop compromising and really just us and them kind of mentality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Post 9/11. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a weird line to cross where it's like, well, no, some things may not be okay, but they're not the evil that we need to stomp out right now.
Mhm.
Like just because you're against Trump doesn't mean you're perfect. Yeah.
Right.
Or against fascism, that doesn't mean you're not flawed. Like we all have flaws, and ideally, the ideal of a two-party system and the checks and balances is that it's all compromised, and nobody is really seeking the compromise. Yeah.
Yep. Our next story.
Speaking
Mo,
of
you
compromise,
you want to talk about DC and the Facebook group?
Private Retailer Forum.
Yeah.
Yeah, the private retailer. They closed the private retailer forum on Facebook, which was a place where people connect and the company connects to the people that are actually making them money. DC connects with the retailers. They shut it down, and DC is working in a weird way because it's nothing new. They disabled the comments in their DC World comment section on their page. So anybody that had anything to say about DC couldn't voice it, and now this is an extension of that. So it's not that new. They've been doing it for the last 8 years, silencing little things here and there. If they wanted to be smart about it, they would get all their YouTube content and just put it DC Universe exclusive. So people that actually pay them money could actually talk shit to them if they wanted to or not, or it could just be sycophants. But they're doing all these things and then trying to make a profit. Like that's not going to work.
I see what you're laughing at, Jay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seemed like from what I read. I mean, I'm not a part of that group, so I can't confirm that this is what was happening, but it seemed like they were really just angry people talking shit about DC, and they're like, "Well, why we got to put up with that nonsense?"
Well, it's the retailers, like the comic book store owners.
Yeah, it's the people that sell their product.
Right. It's like you got to put up with it because they're the ones that actually help you make the money from the comic perspective.
They're your front line.
Supposedly, allegedly. But, I will say that. Oh, go ahead.
It's not like you're selling books digitally only, like direct to your market. There's an intermediary, which is the comic book stores, which is who they've been fucking with all 2020. And then now they're even taking away their feedback. Like, we don't care what you think. And it's not like they're making money on their own, by the way. Like, if their whole going aside from comic book shops and Diamond and doing it on their own, like, paid off enough, then it'd be justified. But this isn't really justified. Like, this is really like, you know what? These guys are the ones giving us cash for our printed books, which is 80% of our business. Like, yeah, let's shut them up. Let's not hear their suggestions on how we could all make money.
And, it's DC's prerogative. I mean, you're right in the sense, Oz, that DC doesn't have to listen and doesn't have to take that. They could totally just be like, we don't care what you think.
Well, how does Marvel handle their forum?
I mean, I would assume that there's probably a similar group for Marvel comics.
There's not, which is why I made the comment. But go ahead.
Oh, how do you know there's not?
Because I looked for one. It wasn't there.
But it's a private group. You wouldn't be a part of it.
But it would be known that it exists.
Oh.
I mean, how did I know that this DC group exists?
Well, did you know you knew it existed before they friggin' shut it down?
I didn't care, so I didn't look for it.
Yeah, but I guess that's kind of the point where it's like it's not something that somebody would.
Well, I'm telling you that Marvel doesn't. But go back to talking about how I was right.
Real quick in chat, Ricky Ricardo says this is so gay. Homos talking about cartoons. Just gay. ZZZ. Is Mayor Young black or dark gray? And where does dark gray come from? He almost looks like his camera is from the 60s. And by a guy named, both his names are Dick. There's nothing gayer than that. And then he commented 10 times about Lawrence. So really the real gay one is Dickie DiCardo jerking off thinking about Mayor Young.
But yeah, man. It's like they don't have to listen to DC.
Also, welcome to the show, Ricky.
Yeah.
So click the link.
Yeah.
Hit
You
like.
know what,
and
Dickie?
subscribe.
Whoa.
Look, I'm trying to give Ricky Ricardo what he wants. A good Kirby dick, right?
Remember,
between the eyes.
the Kirby cock is for the Patreon.
Oh, yes,
And the OnlyFans. And the
It's
OnlyFans.
YouTube, not OnlyFans.
Ricky Ricardo says, fuck you, douche. And I say, no, fuck you, because you're actually watching. If you don't like it, don't watch. Go jerk off. Go suck your daddy's dick. Fat fucking Asian looking acceptance. I don't know what that means.
He's
Yeah.
so ignorant.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Like he's mistaking my ethnicity because his eyes are blind from his daddy's jizz in his eye.
Oh man. But yeah, dude, it's like, listen,
Back to how I'm right.
they don't have to listen. But I will say that there is
But thank you for listening, Ricky Ricardo.
it's one of these things where there are people that feel as if DC is just turning their backs on the direct market. Like that's not like they feel like the corporate overlords are basically like, hey, this is not where we're making money. And so why would we even spend any time, resources, energy, anything in regards to trying to appease, please, and like accommodate these people? And so this might, like, people have been saying that before this. So it's like this is kind of like confirmation to a degree, or not confirmation, but at least they're not helping their case any by basically shutting down what seemingly is one of the main places that they are able to communicate with the powers that be at DC Comics, and the retailers are allowed to do that. So I don't know, man. It's another questionable decision from DC Comics, in my opinion.
I feel like AT&T bought DC in the hopes that they could make the same money that Disney was making with Marvel.
Yeah.
And because they took over what DC was doing, and practically every aspect of what DC was doing, they shot themselves in the foot. Like, they had this idea of how to make it better, and that idea is falling extremely short from what their end goal was.
Yeah, but
Instead of making all this money,
when Disney, oh, sorry, go ahead, finish your thought.
No, go for it.
Well, I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but when Disney got Marvel, they didn't mess with the comic side, right?
No.
Like their whole thing was the movies, and that's where that's what they were banking on, and they just left the comic side alone and let that do what it's going to do.
I mean, they left the movies alone too. Basically, it's not like they were like they came in and tried to do anything different there. They're just like, we own this now.
It just went through the studios that Disney wanted, but they didn't mess with the making of it. They didn't mess with the content. Right. They didn't try to reboot things.
Right.
They just let them do what they did to make the money that they were making, and they just brought it up to a different level.
Yeah, the checks just went to a different account.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like buying stock. You know, you're going to make a money because those people, you figure they know what they're doing. You're just riding on their coattails. In AT&T's case, they said, hey, we know better than you. And they're fucking everything up.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Well, we'll have to see how it all turns out for them over there. They did make a hire recently for they basically created a position, a GM position for DC, basically senior vice president and general manager of DC, and they hired Daniel Cherry, who used to be over at the esports division for Activision Blizzard. And so, you know, he did marketing and whatnot over there for esports at Activision. And I'm just like, this is going to be interesting, I think, only because, I mean, we all know what things are like over on the video game side of things when it comes to like marketing. And it's like when you compare that to comic books, it's like night and day, dude.
But
it's like
he was in charge of esports. So it's not even the video game side, it's esports. And marketing for esports is a completely different beast from anything comic book or even video game related, because you're banking.
I think there is something that he could bring over that comic books was missing into breaking and crossing over to other demographics. You know what I mean? I don't think they should have eliminated the guy. I think they should have put them to work together. That'd be the smart thing to do. Oh, look,
which guy?
The guy that was doing marketing before.
Oh, okay.
For DC. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, I think they working together, like the esports guy could learn from the comics guy, and the comics guy can learn from the esports guy, and they could branch out. with half the workload. You know, especially in this time when they're really just trying to see where they can make money right now. You know, real
Like-
quick, Ricky Ricardo on YouTube chat says, "Vote Biden 2020." Oh, well, look, we try not to be political, but thank you, Ricky Ricardo, for your endorsement. He also says Black Lives Matter. He says defund the police. I'm not for defunding the police entirely, but I am for holding them accountable. I just want them to respect the 5th and 14th Amendment. But yeah, Ricky Ricardo says, yeah, police violate the Constitution. Yeah, Ricky Ricardo, you're right on point. Thank you, Ricky Ricardo. Look, I don't want you to turn this into political, Ricky Ricardo, but thank you for your input. Save that for next week. We'll talk about that next week. And like and subscribe.
Oh man! But listen, dude is literally like, he says, and this was the story I'm looking at is actually through CBR, and of course they got this info from Hollywood Reporter, but it's basically saying the newly created position is covering business affairs, editorial, talent services, marketing, sales, brand, and direct to consumer. So it's like, and it also oversees business development. So it's like, he has his hand in everything. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's like, I feel like this guy is kind of like,
What?
for all intents and purposes, it feels like he's like the new head of DC.
Right. That's what I thought it was. I think he was Jim Lee's replacement. They just changed the title to give him different responsibilities.
Well, it says that this will allow Chief Creative Officer and Publisher Jim Lee to take a more DC brand more DC brand responsibilities.
Is he still chief? Whatever. I thought he was like artist number 5 now.
Yeah. So
Like,
I
he got
don't
the
know,
lawyer,
man.
right? I thought, okay, whatever.
Wait, what's Jim Lee's title?
Chief Creative Officer.
Creative Officer.
And
Well-
and he's the publisher.
So-
But it's just
so-
like it feels to me like they brought somebody in so Jim Lee could take a back seat like he was before. Like Jim Lee could just be a face.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't, but that may not be how it actually is, but that's what it feels like.
What it
'Cause
basically is basically the new dude is gonna take over running everything.
Right.
Jim Lee is gonna be the face behind him. That's gonna be the scapegoat if anything goes wrong.
Well, I don't know if it'll be a scapegoat because I mean, I'm sure this guy will be held accountable, but it almost sounds to me as if he's the guy they're bringing in. Like, this is AT&T's pick to like make this do something, like make this asset work for us.
Because
And that's the thing where it's like, I'm like, oh man, it's going to be a strange fit, I think, just because, you know, comic book people, like if you're an industry veteran, you know, if you have somebody from like the video game space as your like new boss, that's like a whole different level of intensity that you're not used to. Like this guy, if he's like an esports, like business and marketing dude, he's gonna want to win. Like he's gonna want to be like, hey, we need to make sure that we beat Marvel to the punch in every way, shape, or form. And when's the last time DC has been like, oh yeah, we're better than Marvel?
Now, did he get hired before or after they closed the Facebook group?
You know what? I think he got hired probably concurrent to that, but he doesn't start until September.
Okay. Oh, so that wasn't like edict number 1 from
No. He hasn't started yet. He hasn't started yet. That was somebody else's choice. He
But
might have made the
already
same
we can
decision
see-
for all we know, but
Already we can see. I mean, you know, I expect Home Dude probably said, "Hey, you know what? Probably not a good idea," and they're already ignoring him because whoever listened to Jim Lee.
Ricky Ricardo.
Interesting.
look, Jim Lee didn't say close the book. or at least close the group. Like if Jim Lee, like, can you imagine? Like Jim Lee wouldn't. No, there's no way Jim Lee was the one that made that decision. Somebody else.
Look, there's no way Jim Lee knew that existed. Like, he's in the White Covers Facebook group, and that's it.
The White Cover Facebook group. Oh man. So I don't know, dude. It's yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this works. Because look, I mean, I will tell you, you all know I'm a Marvel guy, but I would not be mad if somebody lit a fire under DC Comics as a whole to try to like be better. Now, I just want them to know what they're I just want them to know what they're doing from a comic perspective, though. Like, you know, it's like as long as he's not trying to make things different from a editorial perspective, you know what I mean? Then it's like I'm good.
I think that's the one job he doesn't have.
Yeah, that might be the case. That might be the case. All right, so look, it looks like we got somebody in the queue here. Let's see. Justin, what's going on, man?
Justin.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you? Justin, where are you calling from, and what are you trying to talk about?
I'm from Memphis, and my wife's a huge Marvel fan. You're talking DC stuff. I had a question because I'm a Mortal Kombat fan.
Okay.
Right. So I played Mortal Kombat literally since I was probably, 10 years old, whenever it came out. But my question is, like, Mortal Kombat bought DC rights, and that's why like a lot of characters now can be used in Mortal Kombat. Mm-hmm. But I'm just thinking, like, some of these characters, like, they were never DC characters, like, at least to my knowledge, and that's why I'm asking. Like, Predator, was Predator ever DC?
No, I don't believe Predator. I mean, all the stuff that, like, when you're talking about Predator being in different places, that's all licensing stuff. So it's like you do. I mean, we've mentioned sometime before, where you have Predator that showed up in DC comic books before, like in crossover fashions. But you know, like who was it? Batman versus Predator. Was there another one from DC? Green Lantern versus Predator, or was that Alien?
Oh, you might be right.
Aliens in there too.
Yeah. So you do have some of that crossover with DC, and actually just recently Marvel now has, you know, the rights to Alien and to Predator, which they'll start putting out some Alien and Predator books under the Marvel banner now. But you know, we'll see where that goes, and if it just sticks to the books or if it sticks to just, you know, that corner of things. But yeah, like if you're asking, was Predator ever like a DC comic book character? Technically, no, but they have shown up.
Just co-signed.
Exactly.
Somebody. Okay.
Exactly.
Can you think of an instance that Terminator was ever involved with DC?
No.
I think there was there might have been a Justice League Terminator book.
Oh my God, no!
It was a long time. She's not having it. She's not having it.
Yeah. It might have been a long time ago. But...
Yeah, I can't think of Terminator with anything from DC off the top of my head.
No.
You know, but you know, Terminator has definitely been in. They've had their own comics. Oh wait, Moses.
There was a Superman v the Terminator, but that was Dark Horse.
It
was there you go.
Kind of DC owned. So yeah.
Yeah, it was called Death to the Future, written by Alan Grant, which is, I mean, for the time, that's pedigree talent. But it was mainly Dark Horse, but you couldn't do it without DC. Yeah, it wasn't in the DC continuity, but
right. Okay.
And
so
I don't think any of the Predator, Alien, Because I know they had Green Lantern, Alien. Like none of that was ever in the DC continuity. It was all
Yeah,
Dark.
Terminator was
They had-
more Dark Horse stuff because he also took on RoboCop.
Mhm.
Right.
RoboCop's in there too now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So was the Predator too?
And there's actually literally a Transformers versus Terminator thing going on right now in comics.
I hear that's really good. I haven't read it, but
Yeah, I have the first 2 issues, but I haven't read them yet either.
they say it's,
The
it's some
Predator.
of the- they say it's some of the best things you could read in
The
2020. But,
Predator.
yeah.
So is the Predator involved in that shit too? Come on.
We already discussed that. That was the first part of the conversation.
Oh.
But thank you for coming by.
We appreciate you listening. No.
All right, last one, and I'm done. Jason.
Oh, is there Jason, like Jason Friday the 13th?
Yeah, mask off Jason. Because he's on there too. Can you think of the
No, he's never been in DC. He's only been in Dark Horse and maybe IDW.
he wasn't. What was he in one of the hack slashes?
No, he didn't
No.
make it to Hack Slash.
I feel like there was a character that was like a homage though, right?
In hack
yeah.
slash. Oh yeah.
Sidekick.
The sidekick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're thinking of, I think.
That's
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so no, I don't think Jason has crossed over with any superheroes. We don't believe Justin. But you know, comics is a varied place. There are many comics that come out every month, so we might have missed one.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Like, it kind of makes me want to get into the world of buying rights because, like, if I buy a company and then everybody that ever co-signed with you, I get to use your rights. Like, that just, it's a, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just depends how good the idea is and how much it's going to cost and how much you have on hand.
Right.
You know, it took Disney to get Fox, and then it took Disney to get Star Wars. It took Disney to get Marvel. Like, we're not seeing a lot of that
Oh,
business,
no.
you know.
No, I mean, how much money? Because Disney owns ESPN too, that I'm watching right now. But
Right.
How much money do you think that Disney had to spend out to buy ESPN? What's the over under? And we'll discuss this.
That I can tell you. I don't know how much money.
I would say like a good 7 figures at least when they.
I'm pretty sure that's given, if not 8. But
yeah,
depending on when they bought them too.
Exactly.
Like,
that's what I was just about to say. Like it's
Yeah.
definitely about timing because you know obviously like as much money as like say Disney spent buying Marvel, it's like from their perspective they're like we got in on the ground level. You know what I'm saying? We knew, or at least they believed it would be much more of a return on that investment than what they spent. And so at the time, people were like, wow, that was a lot of money. But then when the first, like, you know, multi-billion-dollar movie came out, they're like, oh, well, they made all that back off of one movie.
All right. Let's do this then. Do we have any idea when Disney bought Marvel?
Yeah, it was like 2011, 2012.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean,
it was 09.
Do we have any idea what they spent for that?
$4 billion.
Yeah,
I think
it was $4 billion.
Yeah, $4 billion.
Same for Lucas stuff
$4
was
billion.
$4 billion also, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Without knowing the year that Disney acquired ESPN, with $4 billion being the line, are you taking the over or the under?
Oh, way under.
Yeah, I think it's under 2.
I'm recusing myself because I'm looking at the date and the number.
Oh, okay. yeah, I think it's under 2.
Yeah,
Well,
I think it's way under. I think it's
I'll be the only one to take the over in this. Yeah, I think you take the over in that one.
What do you say, Jay?
Yeah, I say under.
Oh, okay. What's
All right,
the
so
number?
I'm the only over. Let me be right. Can somebody look this up?
Yeah, Oz has it. What's the number?
I'm looking
Somebody's
right
already
at
looked it up, I know.
technically they bought Capital Cities ABC Inc., which is the company that owns 80% of ESPN in 1996 for a price tag of 19 billion.
19 what? B or M?
B.
Oh wow.
So
They spent 19 billion in 96?
ESPN was worth more back then.
That's
Well, the thing is,
crazy.
it was with ABC, like buying ABC as a whole too.
Okay, so it's not ESPN by itself, but still,
Right.
that's still a lot of money. I didn't know Disney was spending 19 billion in 1996. Like, Jesus.
By the way, that only gives them 80% of ESPN. There's still 20% that another company owns.
It's just the controlling interest.
All right, fellas. Well, I got to get out of here, but I will leave you my cash out for you to all leave your last bets behind.
Hey, thank you for calling in, Justin. Appreciate you, buddy. You were definitely right on that. Look, I'll give you props. You know what I'm saying? You get props for that.
Dame time.
Exactly.
Y'all be good.
Take it easy, man. Thanks for calling in.
All right.
Oh, he's gone.
like no.
Like, subscribe, sign up to the Patreon.
Right.
Yeah, we got to get a Patreon going. We keep talking about it.
We need to get a SoundCloud. No,
but it's funnier if we don't have it and we just keep saying it.
Well, then fuck it. Let's promote the OnlyFans.
Man, y'all can do my SoundCloud. You can throw the episodes on.
El Hecht SoundCloud.
We might as well promote your merch store too, I guess. Fuck it, right?
What are you talking about? Heck.rocks? Yeah, I mean, you can.
Ricky Ricardo's on Heck.rocks right now. Like,
he's looking up all the Biden merch.
Oh my god, dude!
I got that Defund DC shirt coming up.
Defund DC. Okay,
I like that.
I know. Defund DC sounds hilarious.
And put like sad Jim Lee, like trying to
you
draw.
know what? We're rolling out to the end of the show and everything. I did want to say that I keep watching that Batman trailer, and when you hear that that like duct tape strip at the beginning with the DC logo, don't you wish they would have kept that crappy logo that looked like a Post-it? That fits right in. Yeah.
That logo. Because I wanted to rip it off every time I saw it.
But when you see that shitty Riddler, like at the beginning of it, like that logo would have fit so perfectly right there.
It really would. It looks like it's falling off right now as we speak.
Yeah.
Now we didn't. Did you guys talk about the Penguin?
Alfred Molina? Yeah, we talked about it.
Alfred Molina.
Well, you saw last week when we talked about the trailer, like I said, like they could have saved the money and got a better actor that actually looks ugly. Yeah. And then Screen Rant ran with it.
Did they really?
I sent you the link. That's pre-production. Like they literally echoed every one of my sentiments. Like I don't know if they're listening. I assume they are because who cannot listen to me? I'm a selfish fuck, according to Dickie Ricardo. But
thanks for listening, Ricky.
Yeah, thank you. Like and subscribe. But yeah, it's like everything I said in that, like they just eloquently put it in an article and called it their like the most controversial article of that week. Was like, they think Colin Farrell shouldn't be Penguin. Like, yeah. Anywho, it happened.
What were your thoughts on it, though, Oz?
I like that he was unrecognizable. At the same time, if he's gonna be that unrecognizable, I mean, I didn't recognize him as the Penguin either.
Yeah,
when I saw the trailer, so that's a bad sign.
It's like, why is Harvey Bullock so angry?
I thought it was like Falcone or something. I trust Colin Farrell as an actor, so I think he'll do a good job. I hope
Yeah.
it doesn't disappoint me. I just, why hide that pretty face? You know what I'm saying?
That's funny. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all turns out. But yeah, the Riddler, like, it's a weird thing. I don't understand why they're doing that, but especially considering where it's like there's so many like different ways you could, like, if you wanted a more grounded Riddler, you can do that and it still look like the Riddler.
The Riddler was unrecognizable too. You're right.
He had like
You
night
know.
vision on, right?
Yes, he had like Batman night vision.
I
No,
thought it was Hush.
No, it looks like duct tape Hush, but I don't know. I don't know what to tell you about that. And who knows? Like, it might be a cool thing, but just not the Riddler. And here it's one of those things where the movie looks cool, it looks fun, but it's one of those things where it's a double-edged
fun.
double-edged sword, though, where it's like if it takes off, it's like, are they gonna mess around and wrap up Riddler's head in the comic? I hope not, but they might. Yeah.
They can't. Like, they already fucking canceled all the books I read.
I mean,
now they're just gonna start assassinating the characters I like.
I mean, Jay, look, I don't know if you know this, but this is all a personal attack on you. I don't know if you realize this. Like, they really are like, what's Joe like about DC as a brand? Okay. No, none of that anymore. None of that because of you. I don't know what you did to them. It's Jim Lee. Jim Lee is like, he shouldn't have did this. He shouldn't have he should have talked about my hand.
It's the only
He shouldn't have talked about my hand. And so F that guy and everything he loves.
It only took him 10 years because he's always late.
He's still drawing stuff from New 52.
All I'm saying is none of y'all are helping Joe right now. They will mess around and they will end everything. Did you guys see that Tim Drake is Robin again in the comics?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was actually going to shoot you guys that story, but I figured Joe read it already.
Yeah.
I'll read it in the comic.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
What the comic does.
Yeah.
But I actually like Drake. Like, I like the name. I just didn't like the costume.
Yeah, the costume's terrible. The
Brown and yellow motif.
Yeah.
Like, that I didn't like. But the name I actually thought was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. But except for the fact that it's his last name.
It still works.
I mean, okay.
Wait, so Tim Drake is all Robin now? Again?
He's going by the Robin identity. I don't know if he's like gonna be like Batman's partner. I do know that, or at least I did read recently that Damian is out as Robin. So I guess technically there is no Robin at the moment.
But isn't Tim Drake, like, at this point, he's pushing 30 or something?
Nah, man, Tim Drake is like 22.
It's the 5-year timeline.
Tim
I don't
Drake's
know.
like, he's like 19. No, I don't know. He's younger, but he's not. No, he's not pushing 30 because
he'll be Robin.
Huh?
He'll be Robin until the game comes out. Then he'll go back.
Maybe. I mean,
this is all game promotion. That dude, that GM dude, starting.
He's like,
got the night esports.
Oh man! Anything
Next
else?
month, that girl gets her tonsils.
So,
what'd you say, Jay?
the shit ends in November. So,
What ends in November?
Young Justice.
Oh, right.
So, I'm not sure how much it matters.
Well, Tim Drake is still going to pop up somewhere.
No, that's what they say until he doesn't.
Oh, jeez, Jay. Man. It's like, way to be all 2020 on us.
That's the way to be.
I guess so, right? Like, until it doesn't happen.
We've been
Everything's
2020
fine.
to 2012.
Oh, jeez. Oh, okay. All right. Anything else?
I'll play the wrap up music unless
Okay.
anybody has any objections.
No,
I'm
let's
looking
do
at you, Ricardo.
it. L Hex, give us some final thoughts.
I've been reading Immortal Hulk. I like it. Maybe I'll have a review next week. I don't know if I don't work. And I ordered the second volume, so that should be getting here soon.
Be careful, man. Don't let Derek H hear you. They'll find you.
Well, what do you mean?
Yes, man. You know Derek H doesn't like anybody messing with his Hulk.
I mean, I like it. I don't know. I ain't messing with it. I liked it.
No, it's not. It's not your fault. You didn't mess with it, but you like that they messed with it, so you're on the list.
Look. I'll talk about it when I review it.
Sounds like a plan, friend.
All right.
Jay, final thoughts.
Thank you, for you listeners, for interacting with the show. We really appreciate you. Tell your friends. And we'll see you next week.
Indeed. Oscor, final thoughts.
I'm trying to keep up with this Empire nonsense, but we gotta talk about it at some point. How many issues is it? Like 100? Seems like I've done 50.
Issue 6 came out last week, which was the final issue. Like,
Okay.
it's not hard
Finally.
to keep up. It's only 6. They came out on time. Like it came out in like a 3-month span. Like it's a book every other week. What do you want from? Never mind.
2020 is the longest 5 years I've ever been in.
It's that decent timeline.
Exactly. Moses Magnum, final thoughts.
Shout out to Subculture Girl in YouTube chat. She let me know that the movie I was talking about was We Summon Darkness with Alexandre Daddario. It's 40 minutes of a horror movie where you're waiting to see who's gonna die, and it subverts your expectation. We Summon Darkness is on Netflix. Check it out. Also, Ricky Ricardo, thank you for your donation to Black Lives Matter. Like, I'll make sure they get it.
For the entire Fantastic Forum, thank you all for hanging out with us. We do appreciate you. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, definitely go ahead and hit the like button if you like what you heard. Go ahead and hit subscribe. All that. It's like friggin' hit the bell notification. Follow us on social media at our YouTube and on friggin' what am I talking about? Our Instagram.
Everything.
This Fantastic Forum. We'll be back next week. Later.
Babalu.
Man. Y'all are hilarious.